My dad made me choose one of the 10 goddesses to marry. This video is purely for entertainment and does not violate copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and the image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Chapter 676, Heading to Dark Crow. These 3 people sent around the country are simply wonderful. No matter what happens, China will never suffer. When Feng Lin was regretting the country's decision, he was suddenly shocked. It doesn't seem right. If you follow them yourself, you will definitely suffer loss. It's fine if Jiangsu King doesn't betray him as he can protect himself. If he also betrayed his son, maybe the real people didn't deal with him and let his own people stab him in the back first. Dr. Li Xiao and Feng Lin were not from the same group. Jiangsu and Zhenren are probably in the same group. If Jiangsu King is added to the mix, it will definitely be a big deal. Mr. Zhen, although these 3 are all masters, I feel that there are still too few of them. Otherwise, we should add another one who was at the Daken realm, Sero said with a smile. No, 2 of these 3 are rising stars in China and their future achievements will be limitless. Zhen Wenwen shook his head. Sending them is our greatest concession. Sero thought for a moment and said with a smile. Mr. Zhen, I need to inform His Majesty the Pope to see what he wants. Okay. I have already prepared the room. Zhen Wenwen also stood up. Feng Lin followed Zhen Wenwen the entire time. Finally, the 2 of them sent the 3 of them to the luxury suite on the top floor of the hotel. Then they left together. Entering the elevator, Feng Lin asked, Old Zhen, is the country planning to let the 3 of you pass? Yeah. Zhen Wenwen nodded. Then if I follow him, will there be any danger? Feng Lin said helplessly. There is indeed a danger. This time the country is mainly testing Jiangsu King. Otherwise, you shouldn't go. Zhen Wenwen looked at Feng Lin and said. This won't work. Feng Lin gently shook his head. Zhou Wen's parents were still in his hands. What's more, they are enemies of the 4th son and Feng Lin, the boss, must bury them. How about changing your identity? Zhen Wenwen thought about it and said. Smart old Zhen, why are you so nervous that you can't speak when facing Senior Shang Yu? Feng Lin said with a smile. You don't know anything. Zhen Wenwen rolled his eyes. By the way, these are the real human data and information I obtained. The old man asked me to give it to you and give it to him when you return. Feng Lin took out the space ring from his body and handed it to him. To Zhen Wenwen. Zhen Wenwen put away the ring. How much do you know about the Dark Crow Gate? I'm going to take a look, Feng Lin asked. It's relatively low-key. The strength of the sect is not as strong as the top 10 sects. I heard that its leader is a very loyal person. Zhen Wenwen didn't know much about this Dark Crow. Looks like I have to go see him in person. Feng Lin shook his head gently. At the same time. The Zhang family of sank in. Jiangsu King lay back in a rocking chair and took a nap with his eyes closed. Dad. Jiangsu came from behind with a beer in his hand and a smile on his face. Were you confused? Not bad. Jiangsu King didn't open his eyes, but murmured softly. I said from the beginning, you do your thing, I'll do my thing, and I won't bring any trouble to the Zhang family. Jiangsu stood in front of Jiangsu King with a smile and took a sip of beer. How can it be so simple? You're on the opposite side, do you think I should kill you? Jiangsu King raised his eyes. If I don't kill you, in the eyes of the country, I will be suspected. Haha, this Douglas sold me mercilessly. Jiangsu showed a slight smile. What is his purpose? Real humans shouldn't provoke him. Let's not talk about him, let's think about the matter in front of you first. What are you going to do? Jiangsu King said calmly. According to common sense, this attack is likely to fail. Jiangsu stood up. Squatting on the grass, Poseidon, a member of the Dark Order, has already sneaked into the bishop's position. Everything related to the Holy Sea's attack plan depends on the Dark Order in their eyes. Jiangsu King nodded slightly. He also knew Poseidon. But I have always doubted Dupajao. He has no reason to join the country, Jiangsu said with a smile. He is eager to attack real humans. He definitely has other purposes. This variable will affect the overall situation. Dupajao Li Jiangsu King whispered to himself. I'm going to enter the ruins and hide immediately. Be careful with Douglas. You and I cannot meet and there is no talk of taking action. Jiangsu took out his cell phone with a smile and his expression suddenly changed. What's wrong? Jiangsu King asked strangely. The experimental data and materials I took from Huaxia True Human headquarters were stolen. Jiangsu's face was a little gloomy. I hope the country has not received it, otherwise the Dark Crow will be lost. You and there are still contact with this sect. Jiangsu King couldn't see through his son more and more. I am an intermediary. To be precise, Dark Crow's contact with the Alliance. Zhang Zhu drank the beer in one gulp. Everything is not going well. Before bad things are done, you still have one way to survive, and that is to learn. Don and W. Zhang Zhu King smiled bitterly. Were you completely leaning towards the country? Zhang Zhu raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Fen Lin and Zhen Wanwen chatted for a while and prepared to leave. According to Zhen Wanwen, their meeting will last at least 2 or 3 days. In addition to sending experts, we must also discuss the issue of dividing the treasures of the royal humans after the war. Fen Lin felt dizzy when he heard these things. He thought it was best to run away and go to Dark Crow first. It turned out he had a reason to break off the engagement. Fen Lin drove his Wuling Huangwen to Dark Crow's location. Its location is also in Jiangnan, not far from here. After about an hour of travel, Fen Lin arrived at a county-level city. It's called Dongguan. Fen Lin parked the car in a street parking space. He immediately ran to his destination. The entrance to Dark Crow is not on the mountain, but is similar to the Kaijinyang ruins. In a villa, this villa is similar to Zhuang's villa. The area is not very large, so there are no security guards. Fen Lin arrived at the door of the villa and pressed the doorbell. After a while, a long-haired woman walked out of the villa with a smile. Who are you looking for? Hello, I'm looking for Jin Isai. Fen Lin looked at the woman, who was around 30 years old. 40 years old. She has a plump figure and is very well maintained. She is wearing a blue flower skirt. Jin Isai. Have you found the wrong person? The woman asked with a smile. Fen Lin frowned slightly, took out his mobile phone and looked at the address. This was the right place. My name is Fen Lin and I am Jin Isai's fiancé. You can find out just by asking, Fen Lin replied. So you are Fen Lin? The woman looked at Fen Lin in surprise. She smiled and opened the door. I am Jin Isai's mother, Zhao Hui. It turns out that you are an aunt. I thought you were my sister. Fen Lin said with a smile. Haha, you have such a sweet mouth. Come in quickly. Zhao Hui smiled, took Fen Lin's arm and walked towards the villa. As soon as he entered the villa, Fen Lin's eyes gradually narrowed. This villa actually has a formation, and it is a magical formation. Chapter 677. Isn't it amazing? Please sit down quickly and I will pour you some tea. Zhao Hui stood up with a smile and walked towards the kitchen. Fen Lin squinted and sensed the formations around him. Fen Lin, come and drink tea. Zhao Hui walked over with a smile, holding a glass teapot. Andy, don't bother me. I met Jin Isai last time. Is he in the sect? Fen Lin stood up and said, I want to go to the sect and tell you some things in person. Tell me. I'll do it. Zhao Hui put the teapot on the table and walked towards the nearby bedroom. Fen Lin followed Zhao Hui. The bedroom was very normal. He walked to the closet and opened it with his hands. There is a square hole here. The interior was completely dark and nothing could be seen. It's right inside. Zhao Hui pointed to the cave below. Andy, don't you want to come in? Fen Lin asked with a smile. I won't go, there can't be anyone at home. Zhao Hui said with a smile. Andy, where is the bathroom? I've been holding it all this time. Fen Lin could clearly see that the traces of the formation around the cave entrance were not relic formations at all. He felt that this was the entrance to a ghost formation. Zhao Hui left the room and led the way. Brush. 2 shadows appeared on Fen Lin's body, one of which remained in the bedroom. Another shadow passed through the window and landed on top of the villa behind. Oh. Fen Lin's figure reached the roof of the villa opposite. Place a transfer formation token in a space. The next moment, he returned to the bedroom. Fen Lin put his hands in his pants pockets, smiled and left, heading to the bathroom. After going out, he returned and found Zhao Hui waiting for him here. Andy, then I'm going in. After Fen Lin finished speaking, he jumped up. Zhao Hui looked deeper and immediately pushed the cabinet back to its original position to block the hole. He hurried to the other bedroom, which was exactly the same as the previous one. He pushed the cabinet open and there was also a square hole. Zhao Hui immediately jumped up and appeared on a grass field. Not far away, there was a middle-aged man wearing a black coat, thick eyebrows, and big eyes. Its name is Fear. It was none other than the head of Dark Crow, Jin Isai's father. He was smoking when he saw Zhao Hui enter. He hurriedly walked over and asked, Is there anyone here? It's Fen Lin. Our daughter's fiancé. Didn't you investigate him before? I remember the photo. Zhao Yishan said. The voice. Not good. It seems that the things were really stolen by the state. I took a big pull from a cigarette. Where are the others? I tricked him into entering the formation, Zhao Hui said. This kid Fenken, at first I thought he had good medical skills and wanted to get married so that he could use it later. I didn't expect that his son turned out to be a member of the country. All through the cigarette. He hit the ground and stepped on it a few times. He took out his cell phone and made a call. Hello, Jiangzu's voice came from the other side. It's Feng Lin who was here. The country almost certainly knows about this, I said with a solemn expression. Haha, this is the worst, Jiangzu laughed there. It's already this moment and you're still laughing. Ah's voice was cold. Feng Lin has been trapped in the illusionary bias, and he probably won't be able to get out of this life. It's getting worse. You'd better find a way to evacuate immediately. Feng Lin died in your hands and you caused a big problem. Jiangzu's voice became solemn. He is the most respected young master in the country. Of course, I know that he also has an unusual relationship with the empress of the Jili tribe. I heard about this astonishment from my daughter. Feng Lin fell into a red world, surrounded by endless flames. He walked here for a few minutes and found nothing. It should be similar to the Dragon Palace formation. Haha, you want to trap me here forever? Feng Lin sneered, took out the transfer token and appeared on the roof of the villa in the blink of an eye. He shook his head slightly. This transfer formation was really powerful. It is beyond common sense. Maybe the Yin Yang Crusade is just to attract masters who master the formations, Feng Lin guessed in his mind. Dad Ken Kingdom. Feng Lin stared at the villa and jumped into Xiaohui's courtyard again. Walking out of the living room were you and Feng Lin. Xiaohui was so surprised that her mind went blank and she took a few steps back. How can it be? He saw Feng Lin jump into the formation with his own eyes. How did you get out of formation? Ah's expression didn't change. He didn't know who it was. That's why he deliberately hid it. Now that he knows that he is a young man like Feng Lin, he feels relaxed. He had just arrived at the Dakan realm and it was very easy to deal with this little Feng Lin brat. I don't know, I came out just as he was walking. Feng Lin showed a bright smile. Andy, do you want me to die? Xiaohui hid behind Ah with a pale face. That formation, so far no one has come out yet. Unexpectedly, Feng Lin immediately escaped. Boy, I won't talk nonsense to you. You have touched a taboo and deserve to die. As soon as Ah finished speaking, he suddenly attacked Feng Lin. Boom. The terrifying energy caused the ground under his feet to fall into pieces. Feng Lin only has the divine orifice realm. Killing him is like searching for something in a bag. At the first level of the Dakan realm, I can completely torture you. A dark red longsword appeared in front of Feng Lin. Oh. The longsword turned into a beam of light and flew towards Ah. Is the White Emperor's holy sword? Amazement paused for a moment, but then continued to attack. I don't care what abilities you have. In the face of absolute strength, everything is in vain. Boom. A blue light appeared on the impressive palm and struck the tip of the sword. A strong wind hit everything around and the walls of the villa began to collapse. But something happened that surprised Ah. The sword was intact. Feng Lin raised his palm and lightly snapped his fingers. Call. His body was surrounded by flames. A flaming figure flew out of Feng Lin. The flame man suddenly raised his hand and grabbed the longsword. I was stunned. What kind of ability is this? He crouched down immediately. Behind my husband. Xiaohui suddenly shouted. Ah quickly turned around and found Feng Lin standing in the distance, already crouching behind him. He was surrounded by flames and was holding a dark red sword. He had already cut his throat. Get out of here. Ah angrily exploded key to the limit and kicked Feng Lin in the chest. However, Feng Lin seemed to be a ball of air. His legs came out of the flames. Brush. At the same time, the dark red sword had already pierced his neck. This, impossible. Astonishment made his scalp numb with shock and his mouth trembled with trembling. I can't hit him, but he can hit me. What a joke. Faga. Ah spewed blood from his neck and fell to his knees with a plop. The flame man and the longsword turned into key and disappeared. When Ah saw this, his pupils suddenly shrank. Clone. Not bad. Feng Lin's figure walked out of the first flame man, but the sword is real, isn't it amazing? Chapter 678 Cancer. This move was the first one Feng Lin performed recently. To put it bluntly, use the logic of human thinking. If it were just a sword, I think everyone would attack it. You can add a clone, especially if you deliberately slow down your sword movement. Most people will not attack the sword, but will choose to get straight to the point and attack the body. Of course, this was the first move Feng Lin understood, and he still had many more that he hadn't used yet. Hit. Shock covered his neck and he fell. Ah. Xiaohui couldn't believe that her husband was clearly in Dakan state. How could he be killed by this young Feng Lin? She covered her mouth, roared excitedly, and finally sat on the ground helplessly. Fen Lin squatted down, took the ring off Wei Wei's hand, and used Ash's holy glue to kill her body. He walked towards Zhang Hui step by step. No, don't kill me, I don't want to die yet, Fen Lin, let me go. Zhang Hui crawled crying, hugged Fen Lin's legs and pleaded, I can serve you, don't kill me. Fen Lin grabbed Zhang Hui's wrist and lifted her off the ground, as long as you cooperate well, I won't kill you. This Zhang Hui was only at the mid-engine stage. And Fen Lin did not take it lightly. I will cooperate, I will definitely cooperate. Zhang Hui wiped away her tears and forced a smile. What bad things are you doing? Are you afraid that I will know? Fen Lin let go of Zhang Hui's hand and asked with a smile. It's not us, it's amazement. He is not us humans. Zhang Hui said while wiping away her tears. What do you mean? Fen Lin frowned. He once told me that he is a hybrid between a human clan and a shadow clan. Zhang Hui paused to explain. He said he is almost 70 years old. 70 years. Fen Lin was still wondering at this moment. At this impressive age, he appears to be in his 50s. To be able to enter the depicted realm at this age, he should be a first-level master. But I have never heard of this person. It turned out to be a mixed breed. What is Shadow Clan? Fen Lin asked. Follow me. Zhang Hui entered the villa, came to the bedroom leading to the ruins, and entered on his own initiative. Fen Lin looked at the bedroom, which was exactly the same as before. Those who accidentally sneak in may find themselves in the wrong place and be doomed. Fen Lin continued towards the ruins and stepped on the grass. He noticed many oars in the distance, grabbed Zhang Hui's shoulders and ran towards the depths of the ruins. There are buildings here similar to the true human organization. There are many people busy here, all dressed in white coats and protective clothing. Madam. Who is it? An old man in a temper came from a distance, pointed at Fen Lin and asked. He is my husband's man, and he is here to be inspected. Zhang Hui forced a smile. Those who feared this depicted realm were killed by Fen Lin, and these people are not worth mentioning. That's all. The old man turned and left. Zhang Hui led Fen Lin to a white building in the distance. Along the way, Fen Lin saw many cylindrical machines and looked through the glass. Fen Lin's eyes widened immediately. You're raising babies. It's not us. It's amazement. Zhang Hui replied, I also know that this is not good, but I don't dare to resist it, let alone, what's more. Fen Lin coldly when he saw her hesitate to speak. Wei Wei said that young people are full of energy and do some manual work every few days. Zhang Hui lowered his head and continued, isn't that waste? These things can only be considered waste. Then where? They are women. You're a woman, you should know better than me, right? Fen Lin's eyes were filled with murderous intent. You should know that women are not like men and they are not a billion at a time. Women are bought with money. All those women are volunteers. We have contract. Zhang Hui looked at Fen Lin and said, some of them are very happy. It can be said that we are immoral, but we have never actively harmed anyone. Fen Lin took a deep breath. In comparison, Eugene's direct arrest of people was much gentler here. But Fen Lin still couldn't accept it. What are you doing training these people? Fen asked. Lin softly as he regained his composure. Jiangsu has a close relationship with Shenren. Shenren consumes the lives of thousands of people. You can always take charge of the drug data you collect and let us enjoy the results. After Zhang Hui said this, he continued to walk deeper. Follow me. Fen Lin quickly followed him, and after walking a few dozen meters, he found a row of railings in front of him. As you get closer, you can see many children below, drinking milk powder and being served by someone. They are a mix of Shadow Clan and humans. We cultivate these people and then inject medicine into their bodies to create warriors for Shadow Clan to use. Zhang Hui pointed to the people below and explained. Fen Lin took a deep breath and looked at Zhang Hui. The potion is not 100% successful, right? Of course, some of the simplest ones have a success rate of around 70 to 80%, and the most complicated ones have a success rate of less than 10%, Zhang Hui explained. Isn't this considered murder? Fen Lin angrily grabbed Zhang Hui's neck. Depends on what you think, at least these experimental subjects are not considered human beings in the eyes of their parents, Zhang Hui explained, coughing a few times. Fen Lin trembled with anger. He let go of Zhang Hui's neck and asked sternly, how long have you been doing this kind of thing? 5 or 6 years. Zhang Hui continued, I'll probably send one to Shadow Clan. More than 100 people. Shadow Clan. Jiangsu. You are not a good person. Fen Lin pointed at Zhang Hui. Wait here, otherwise everyone will die. After saying that, Fen Lin disappeared. In the blink of an eye it is here. He left the ruins and sat on the couch in the living room, trying to calm down. Taking out his mobile phone, he called Lin first. After confirmation, I will inform the elder. Fen Lin, I haven't seen you in a few days, and do you miss your sister? Lu Bao's unique charm came from there. Fen Lin was furious and had no intention of admiring the Zero Lions of a Shadow Clan. Of course, that is one of the two major races here. What's wrong? Lu Buren asked strangely. Gay, forget it, I will tell you personally when we meet. After Fen Lin finished speaking, he hung up the phone and called the old man immediately. Boy, listen to Xiao Zhan, have you gone to Dark Crow? Ji Guangling's voice came from there. That's right, don't get excited about what I'm going to say next. Fen Lin told Ji Guangling everything he saw and heard here. Ji Guangling cursed fiercely, real humans are indeed a cancer. They're immortal. I don't know how many people will suffer along with them. What should I do? Fen Lin asked. I'll go there in person. Send me the address. After Ji Guangling finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Fen Lin sent the coordinates here and sat on the sofa to wait. At this moment, Fen Lin felt a master approaching. Shortly after, a calm woman with long hair appeared in the courtyard. Fen Lin turned around and saw that it was Jin Isai. Chapter 679 Balance of Terror. Fen Lin, why are you here? Jin Isai looked at the collapsed walls around him and walked towards the living room. As soon as he finished saying this, his face gradually turned pale. Although Fen Lin has a close relationship with the Empress of the Jili tribe, her true identity is that of the country. Your presence here is definitely of no use. Come here to carry out a mission. Fen Lin leaned on the sofa and looked at Jin Isai expressionlessly. What mission? Jin Isai walked over and said in a deep voice. Let's see what this low-key Dark Crow is doing. Fen Lin said calmly. I didn't expect that the leader here would dare to attack me, so I killed him. What? You kill him? Did you kill my father? Jin Isai's calm face suddenly became ugly. He immediately ran to the living room and bedroom. Fen Lin did not follow him. Anyway, with him guarding outside, no one would be able to escape. From about 10 minutes passed, Jin Isai walked out of the ruins in a state of disbelief and stood at the door of the bedroom, looking at Fen Lin. What? Do you want to avenge your father? Fen Lin crossed his legs and asked calmly. I didn't expect you to be able to kill Dakan Kingdom. You are really terrible. Jin Isai thought for a long time before walking over and sitting on the sofa in front of Fen Lin. Not many people can remain calm even after their father's death. Fen Lin got a look at the other party. If I act now, I will die. Jin Isai said in a deep voice. If I don't act now, as a member of the country, you shouldn't kill everyone. Very smart. Fen Lin spread his hands. What are you going to do now? Jin Isai asked. Wait for the people above to come and make a decision. As Fen Lin spoke, Zhao Hui also walked out of the ruins. He hurriedly sat next to Jin Isai, took her hand and said, this evil thing was done by your father and has nothing to do with the two of us. Fen Lin will definitely let us go. Jin Isai lowered his head silently. By the way, you and Fen Lin are still married. How could Fen Lin kill his fiancée? Zhao Hui looked at Fen Lin with a smile. Haha, now we know that we're married. Why did you forget that you tricked me into entering the formation before? Fen Lin sneered a few times. I'm telling you, I came here to break the engagement. Do you want to break the engagement? Fen Lin, my daughter Destined has nothing to do with these things and hasn't fallen in love yet. If it doesn't work out, I'm willing to follow you. What are you talking about? Jin Isai shouted coldly. I just want to live. No matter what man I serve, I will serve him, Zhao Hui said matter-of-factly. Fen Lin dismissed this. Generally, crazy people like this have problems with their outlook on life. At this moment, Fen Lin looked at the sky outside and the sound of a helicopter came from above. Boom. Suddenly, there was a vibration in the yard. Ji Guangling appeared here wearing floral short sleeves and ripped jeans. Fen Lin greeted him immediately. Old master. When Jin Isai heard this title, his face turned pale as paper. Could it be the legendary Ji Guangling? Where? Ji Guangling entered the living room and asked. What are you doing standing? Lead the way. Fen Lin looked at Zhao Hui. Oh, it's fine. Zhao Hui quickly got up and walked towards the ruins. You are coming with me too. Fen Lin looked at Jin Isai. If he went in with the old woman, the woman would probably run away. Jin Isai did not refute. He stood up very obediently and walked towards the ruins. Fen Lin and Ji Guangling followed closely behind. Under the leadership of Zhao Hui and Jin Isai, Ji Guangling and Fen Lin entered the test base together. The old man in the middle of his temper in the distance approached again. Madam, where is the leader? He brought many outsiders today. Their leader is dead and now we will take control here. Fen Lin stepped forward and said coldly. What? You? This old man simply burst out with energy. The air around him contracted sharply. There was a roar here. The person in front of him was squeezed into a ball of minced meat the size of a basketball. But in just a moment, Qi Jin evaporated the minced meat. There's nothing left here. When Zhang Hu saw this, his legs became weak from fear and he sat on the ground with a plop. A master of this level disappeared instantly. What state is this? Jin Isai also shuddered thinking about it. He was worthy of being the #1 person in the Chinese country according to legend. There are many legends about him. One of the most widespread phrases is, a genius who entered the kingdom of temperance at the age of 30, what kingdom will he enter when he is over 100 years old? Nobody knows. Lead the way. Ji Guangling looked at Jin Isai calmly. Jin Isai nodded frightenedly, helped Zhang Hu eat up, and they walked in together. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets, looked at Ji Guangling and said, speaking of which, I have never seen the old man perform. This is a terrifying balance in the world of ancient warriors. I can't act casually. Ji Guangling shook his head slightly. What do you mean? Fen Lin asked in surprise. Haven't you noticed that you can barely see the Dakan realm and fight in this secular world? Ji Guangling stopped. Indeed, Fen Lin nodded, remembering the previous duel between Luo Shenyan and Kai Jinghan. At their level, it would be almost a disaster if they fought outside. This is an invisible tacit understanding, Ji Guangling explained. You can understand that I cannot use absolute force to crush them, and they will not die together and kill ordinary people in the outside world. Fen Lin suddenly realized. In a sentence, the ordinary people of the outside world are hostage to these evil organizations. They don't need strong masters, they only need to send dozens of divine orifice realms distributed in several cities to cause countless casualties. Therefore, a master with absolute power like the old man cannot act without authorization. If there are no restrictions except the Yin Crusaders, I can destroy these real human beings just by raising my hand, Ji Guangling said domineeringly. Unbelievable old man. Fen Lin smiled and gave a thumbs up. Hey. Being too strong is also a sin. Ji Guangling shook his head and walked deeper. Old master, what if the violation of real humans this time pushes them to rush and start destroying the outside world? Fen Lin followed and asked. As long as they break the rules first, experts like me can come out and other organizations will not say anything, Ji Guangling explained. Fen Lin nodded. Along the way, Ji Guangling also saw how the children were taken care of. He sighed deeply. He didn't expect that the Foreign Alliance, which had always given China a kind attitude, would also have such great ambitions. He is not my family, his heart must be different. They want to cultivate experts and expand their territory. The first thing they want to invade is the land of China. Hey. We can only do it step by step. Ji Guangling looked deeply at Fen Lin. In the future, he will still have to look at this kid. Old master, what experts will the Holy See send in this battle between real humans? Fen Lin was even more interested in real humans. After all, they are the source of all evil. The new pope will definitely take action, Ji Guangling replied. Chapter 680 Zhu Ruang takes a step back. The new potato. Where is the old potato? Fen Lin remembered that a few years ago, when they were still carrying out their mission on the night of his death, the Pope was an old man. He abdicated. I don't know the specific reason. This potato has been enough us for about a year and a half. Ji Guangling shook his head gently. I'm not interested in your affairs. Let's solve the immediate problem first, Fen Lin pointed out, he said while looking at the equipment around him. Hey, some of the machines in front of me have not fully grown, which is too difficult to handle. Ji Guangling said helplessly. They are all destroyed, but they are life. If they are not destroyed, then people should be sent here to take care of them and wait for them to grow. It is not certain if these people will side with the country in the future. If you can't do it, leave it to me. Fen Lin raised his hand with a smile. You are not needed. You have nothing to do here. You can go back. Ji Guangling greeted Fen Lin. Now that Fen Lin is growing up, it is better to let the older generation deal with such dark matters. Did you choose the 3 people to deal with the real humans? Before Fen Lin left, he suddenly remembered this matter. What if the 3 of them betrayed? What do you want me to do? Haha, this is what happened at the meeting. It's decided. Ji Guangling smiled awkwardly. You can wear a mask. Forget it, many people can see my tricks at a glance. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. Let's go. Remember to give me accurate information when the time comes. All right. Ji Guangling nodded and then looked at Zhang Hu and Jin Isai not far away. Fen Lin drove his Wuling Huangling and left here. He no longer plans to find Lao Zhan, the previous information has been handed over to him. Now go back and prepare for war, about real humans. On the way, Fen Lin's cell phone vibrated. He looked at it and saw that it was Kai Jinhyun's call. So, he parked the car on the side of the road, called and asked, "What's wrong? Who was that woman in the group? Bring her to me immediately or I will go see her and see if I can't." "Don't smash it. Mouth." Kai Jin-young shouted coldly there. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. "Sister, I don't know what it is. You're deliberately covering up for her. She is your wife, right?" Kai Jin-young said coldly. "Majestic Empress, don't argue with her. If you get angry with her, you have already lost." Fen Lin was speechless. It had been so long, but she didn't expect that she was still being scolded. "That's right, she is just an ant." Kai Jin-young calmed down, "But you also have to tell him to keep his mouth clean." "Okay, I'll tell you right away," Fen Lin nodded. Kai Jin-young hung up the phone. Fen Lin immediately opened the web chat group and there were thousands of comments. He shook his head, dialed Zhu Ruang's number, turned on a speaker, and placed the phone on the passenger side. "Rebook and run towards Fengshan." "Fen Lin, what's wrong?" Zhu Ruang's voice came from there. "Honey, that woman is the Empress I mentioned before. Her strength is very terrifying. Please speak more politely." "What? So she is the woman who was in love with you?" Zhu Ruang asked immediately. "No, I was joking before. I really need his combat power now, so pretend to be polite," Fen Lin said with a smile. "No." Zhu Ruang flatly refused. "There are only 3 of us in the group, so Rinrin is fine. The key is that Shangouji and King are also there. A stranger bullies my man and I don't say a word. What do you think of me? You and are really my good wife." Fen Lin smiled bitterly. "Don't worry, I will give you face and take a step back. I won't embarrass you." After Zhu Ruang finished speaking, she hung up the phone. Fen Lin said helplessly. Since Zhu Ruang was planning to take a step back, the farce between the two parties should be over. Fengshan. Fen Lin returned here without stopping. Men Changshan was sitting in a wheelchair, drinking a drink. The mobile phone next to him played a voice automatically, and he was very happy to hear it. Fen Lin rolled his eyes and was about to go to the villa to lie down for a while, but the second master said to himself, "It would be great if Zhang could really win over the Empress and become his wife." "What are you talking about?" Fen Lin frowned. "Didn't you see the group?" "See for yourself," Men Changshan took the pipe and said. Fen Lin immediately took out his phone and checked dozens of items. Seeing Zhu Ruang on it, he said, "Are you secretly in love with Fen Lin?" Then he said another series of words. "Then I will take a step back. I allow you to be my man's concubine and call me sister. From now on. Cover yourself." Shit. Fen Lin cursed secretly. It turned out that this was what Zhu Ruang meant by taking a step back. All this is reflected in people's faces. What followed was a series of voice attacks from Kai Jinheng, more than a dozen in total. Fen Lin didn't even bother to look, so he just let them do it. He returned to the villa and simply lay down on the sofa, ready to rest for a while. The telephone rang. He looked closer and saw that it was Kai Ling's call. "What's wrong?" Fen Lin asked. "The situation in Huaiquan is stabilized. I just met with Deng Zhao. He said that the country sent him to attack the headquarters of True Humanity." Kai Ling asked there. "Not bad," Fen Lin nodded. "You should go too, right?" Kai Lin asked. "Yes, but I will go alone, not with him." "I don't trust him," Fen Lin replied. Now this happened with Kai Lin. He definitely believed in Kai Lin more than Deng Zhao. The headquarters of real human beings is very special. "I will send you everything I know. Just wish you the best. At that level, I can't help." After Kai Lin finished speaking, he hung up the phone. After a while, Fen Lin received a text message on his phone. Above is the real human headquarters described by Kai Lin. Fen Lin took a quick look and was surprised. Real human remains in Europe at 2 entrances and exits. Kai Lin once entered this place. However, this is not the headquarters. The headquarters requires transfer training, which only the Dean can perform. No one knows what masters are in that royal headquarters. However, Fen Lin was not afraid. This time the Pope of the Holy See would take action. It can certainly withstand most attacks. As for Fen Lin, there are many opportunities to escape. Just take a day off. Ji Guangling told Fen Lin the address in advance. Let him go first. Fen Lin agreed and bought a ticket to England. Finally, at dusk, we arrived at the British International Airport. He looked at the pedestrians coming and going and smiled. When he traveled abroad before, his first stop was here and several years had passed in a blink of an eye. After being disappointed before, I now have several more wives. Overall, not bad. Fen Lin. A voice came from behind Fen Lin. The other person spoke Chinese and Fen Lin turned around instinctively. I found a typical Western beauty among several black bodyguards. She is none other than Alice. Ha ha ha. Is this destiny? We can meet at the airport in England. Alice walked towards Fen Lin with a smile. Several black bodyguards immediately came to Fen Lin, ready to search for weapons for him. Chapter 681a. Little effort. No, this is my friend, Alice said in English. The bodyguards surrounding him retreated to his side. Why are you here, sir? Alice asked with a smile. I'm looking for someone. Fen Lin definitely wouldn't tell this irrelevant person about his mission. Can't she be a girlfriend? Alice asked with a smile. No, just an ordinary friend. As Fen Lin spoke, he suddenly felt that there was a master who had broken through the realm not far away. Although the other party was wearing sunglasses, judging from his body posture, he was definitely looking towards Fen Lin. I can send someone to help you find it. After all, this is my territory and there are no limitations like the Magic City, Alice said with a smile. Fen Lin hesitated for a moment and shook his head slightly. Let's forget it. Then I will give you an address. If you really can't find it, you can call me and I will send someone to pick you up. Up. Alice took it out of her body. He gets a black business card. Okay. Fen Lin took the business card and turned to leave. He wasn't sure if the man with sunglasses was looking at him or at him. Alice. No matter what, she would find a place immediately and put on the mask. Far away on the side of the road, there was a black Rolls-Royce Phantom, and two men in suits opened the door. Alice sat in the back row. After a while, the white man with sunglasses that Fen Lin had noticed before also came over and sat next to Alice. What is the person's condition right now? Alice asked with a smile. Later stage of divine acuity. The man raised his glasses slightly. I was scared. Alice smiled and held her cheek. I'm also a little surprised. A young man in his 20s is in the late stage of spiritual enlightenment. The man in sunglasses smiled and spread his hands. You're thinking too much. This doesn't surprise me. The real human organization in China has been eliminated. Alice looked out the window indifferently. I received news that people from the Holy See also went to China. The Holy See. Is it because of the matter at the Holy See? True humanity? Asked the man in sunglasses. It must be that the new pope isn't that young. Many cardinals of the Holy See are not convinced by her. She needs to do something big to prove her worth, Alice said flatly. Solving out the true human seed in Europe is fair. Now, the Chinese man just now is the number one of the Knight of Death, the Doctor of Death. Alice raised her cheeks and chuckled. Don't look at him, he only is in the last divine ability stage. He can use a method and can briefly compete with the Dakan Kingdom. Initially in China, Alice saw that Fen Lin could fight against Wang Hei's Du. As expected of a mortuary doctor, it is really amazing, she said. The sunglasses man with a smile. I originally thought he was a master sent by China to deal with real humans, but if you said he only has the late stage of the divine ability, that is definitely not the case. Alice smiled and shook. Don't let a genius like Fen Lin die. Relying on a strange method, he was only able to briefly compete with the Dakan realm. Among real human beings, there is no lack of Dakan realm. Fen Lin put on a human skin mask in a deserted corner, then took out a black coat and put it on. He hid his entire aura and now looked like an ordinary person. Ji Guangling and Kai Ling sent him the location of the real human being. However, Kai Lin was more thorough and sent the two locations of the ruins. Fen Lin had already checked the route before arriving. Standing at the bus stop not far away. After a while, a red double-decker bus arrived from a distance. Fen Lin got on the bus and found that there were a lot of people here, so he held onto the railing. Hello? What's your phone number? I'll ask you to play when I have time. Sorry, I don't give numbers to strangers. Fen Lin turned around and noticed a thin, yellow woman sitting on the table. The seat next to her, inside. On the outside, he looks like a young mixed-race man in his 20s. When the young man found out that he had been rejected by the woman, he got angry and said, I want your mobile number to give you face. You're Asian, get out of our country. As he spoke, he grabbed the woman's hair. Let me go. Let me go. The woman screamed for help. But when other people around saw this scene, instead of stopping it, they took out their mobile phones to take pictures. Fen Lin immediately reached out and grabbed the man's wrist. Let go. Another Asian. I'm embarrassing you, right? You dare to teach me a lesson if you don't lie down on the ground and be a dog. In our territory. Oh. Just as the young man was about to teach Fen Lin a lesson, he felt the bones in his wrist creak. The pain made him break out in a cold sweat. I was wrong, let me go, I was wrong, brother. He knelt down from his seat with a plop and his entire palms turned dark red due to congestion. Out. Fen Lin grabbed his arm and kicked him out. Then, Fen Lin sat next to the woman and asked her in a low voice, "Are you okay?" "It's okay, I'm fine." The woman quickly fixed her hair and thanked Fen Lin. The young man in the distance looked coldly at Fen Lin, and while the car was parked, he got out of the car and ran away. Fen Lin looked at this woman and saw that she was in her 20s and had short, shoulder-length black hair. Wearing very ordinary sports clothes, her cheeks are very delicate. Originally, he wanted to take the initiative to strike up a conversation, but the woman kept her head down. Fen Lin finally gave up. The car drove for about an hour, and when Fen Lin found that he had reached his destination, he got up and got off. After getting out, he discovered that the woman from before also got out of the car. Haha. What a coincidence, I got off the car first and didn't follow you. Fen Lin said to the woman with a smile. Just, thank you. Fen Lin lowered his head and said, with a little effort, where is your ancestral home? Fen Lin asked with a smile. It's Huaxia, Fen Lin whispered. What is destiny? I am also from China. When Fen Lin said this, he used Chinese. So you're from China? Fen Lin suddenly raised his head and then his excited expression dimmed. I have never been to China. You can go to your parents if you have time, Fen Lin said with a smile. My parents were dead. Fen Lin no English tears. Stop crying. Fen Lin gently patted Fen Lin's shoulder and pushed her to sit on a nearby bench. According to Fen Lin, his parents have been dead for 3 or 4 years. It was because he offended his business colleagues whose ancestry was also from China. Now that man still does good business, but Fen Lin's family is ruined. I can only go to one restaurant in Chinatown to work every day. Shit. Fen Lin cursed angrily. He had seen many people like that who like to fight in groups. When faced with foreigners, he is submissive and obedient like a dog, but when faced with his own people, he hits hard. I originally wanted to save money and return to China, but I was born here and am considered a British citizen. Chinese nationality is the most difficult to obtain in the world. At times, I even thought about committing suicide. Fen Lin wiped his eyes and whispered. Isn't this Zhao Fan? Damn. Is this your boyfriend? Why is he so ugly? At this moment, a middle-aged man with a big belly walked over from a distance and said with a smile in Chinese. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Wando Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in the world of incredible novels. Chapter 682. How deeply hidden. Fen Lin looked at the other party indifferently. This time he was wearing a human skin mask. Calling me ugly is barely bearable. Fen Lin looked at the man with a touch of shyness in his eyes. Uncle Zhang. Since you are not at work, go back quickly and don't come into contact with these people of unknown origin. Zhang Lang looked at Fen Lin expressionlessly. Fen Lin nodded immediately. Is it okay? Sister, do you think I am a person of unknown origin? Fen Lin looked at Fen Lin calmly. No, Fen Lin winked at Fen Lin hurriedly. That's right. You just have unknown origins. What's wrong? Zhang Lang pointed at Fen Lin and shouted. Who are you? Are you so crazy? Fen Lin stood up, walked up to Zhang Lang and looked at the middle-aged man. I'm Zhao Fan's landlord. I have an apartment here. What's wrong? Zhang Lang looked disdainfully at Fen Lin. You're so tall, aren't you? If it were white, Zhang Lang might have swallowed his anger. But he is a yellow man and really considers himself a character. Uncle Zhang, this is my colleague in the restaurant. We have known each other for a long time. Fen Lin took Fen Lin's arm and quickly explained, I brought him here to get something. Remember, you can. Don't keep him here. Stay the night, Zhang Lang said coldly. I know. Fen Lin quickly pulled Fen Lin, let's go quickly. The two came to another street. Fen Lin said calmly, you are afraid of him. He is my landlord, and several tenants here often fawn over him. Fen Lin whispered. The rent here is cheaper. I don't want you to rush. I'm leaving. It seems like you get harassed often. Fen Lin shook his head gently, feeling a little sympathetic. It's nothing. He often jokes with me, saying that if he can't pay the rent, he can use his body to pay it. Fen Lin smiled bitterly. He's not joking. How many truths are told jokingly? I know, I will protect myself, Fen Lin asked in a low voice. Do you want to come back with me to visit? No, we can leave each other's contact information. Fen Lin smiled and took out his mobile phone. I'm here to meet a friend. If I have time, I will call him. Okay. Fen Lin also took out his mobile phone. The two exchanged contact information and left each other's names. Fen Lin turned around and left, preparing to take a look at one of the entrances to the Real Humans. He walked through several streets and finally arrived at a luxury hotel. This is an older neighborhood and homeless people can still be seen lying on the surrounding streets. The high-end hotels here are incompatible with the surrounding buildings. There are many luxury cars parked in front of the hotel. Suddenly, Fen Lin narrowed his eyes, and a Rolls-Royce drove past him and drove into the parking space of the hotel. There was a master who has penetrated all the realms, and his aura fluctuates like the man with sunglasses at the international airport before. Could that person be a real human being? Fen Lin secretly thought that something was wrong, which didn't mean that Real Humans had seen it coming. He looked into the distance and saw that it was indeed the man with sunglasses from before, emerging from the back seat of the Rolls-Royce. The next moment, Fen Lin was stunned, because Alice actually came down from above. They are together. Fen Lin couldn't believe that Alice was actually a real human being. Mistaken. Fen Lin shook his head gently. Maybe I was overthinking it. He was just staying in a hotel. Thinking of this, Fen Lin quickly followed him to see if the other party was staying at the hotel. Fen Lin entered the hotel and the lobby was filled with luxury. Alice in the distance walked towards the reception. The front desk bowed very respectfully and Alice entered the nearby elevator without doing anything. Looks like she's already a regular customer here. Hello, how can I help you? The blonde woman at the front desk looked at Fen Lin with a smile. Fen Lin smiled and said, I would like to ask, is it convenient for me to use your bathroom here? What he said was just delaying time. His purpose was to see where the other party had gone. The ending exceeded Fen Lin's expectations. His elevator did not go up the stairs, but instead went underground. Sorry, our bathroom here can only be used by guests who are staying, the blonde woman said with a smile. Okay then. Fen Lin nodded, turned and left. Arriving outside the hotel, Fen Lin continued to wonder until the round penetrating aura disappeared. This Alice is hidden so well. She actually tricked me, Fen Lin recalled the first time they met on the secluded island. Compared to her father, she didn't panic at all, maybe she had something to rely on. Fen Lin decided not to alert the enemy for the time being. Alice must know her identity. But what he didn't know is that Fen Lin now also knew his identity. Just understand that if Fen Lin calls her, he can still trick her. I just don't know if Alice is a mercenary or an administrator among real people. If it were management, Fen Lin could have taken him hostage. At this moment, Fen Lin's phone rang. He took it out, looked at it, and found that it was Fen Lin's phone number from before. What's wrong? Fen Lin asked. Fen Lin, can you come help me? Fen Lin was already crying. Where are you? I'll be there right away. Fen Lin frowned and returned in the same way. At the intersection just now, Fen Lin saw Fen Lin from before. When he saw Fen Lin returning, he immediately ran over and pressed his face into Fen Lin's arms. What happened? Fen Lin asked in a low voice. The landlord temporarily increased the price of my house, Fen Lin said, wiping away tears. It seems that I have caused you trouble, take me there, Fen Lin said coldly. Fen Lin nodded and took Fen Lin to an apartment not far away. There are only 3 floors, similar to a small hotel. In addition to the first floor lobby, the second and third floors are living quarters. After reaching the hall, Zhang Lang sat on the sofa and looked at Fen Lin lightly. It seems that you have decided to move, so pack your things immediately. Are you still a man? Bullying a weak woman. Fen Lin walked over with a gloomy face. I didn't bully her. Instead, I've been taking care of her. Other people's house prices have gone up, but she hasn't. Zhang Lang smiled flatly and said, Zhao Fan, it's okay if the prices don't increase. You can sleep with me twice a week. Fuck me. Fen Lin kicked Zhang Lang in the stomach. The sofa on who was sitting turned back and he fell. Shit. Brat. Are you looking for death? I know the local police officers. Just wait for me. Zhang Lang put his hands on his stomach in pain, got up from the ground and called immediately. Fen Lin, leave quickly. Fen Lin was so scared that he cried. It was really not easy to mess with Zhang Lang. Why are you leaving? Do you think I'm afraid of him? Fen Lin took off his mask. Actually, I am a rich second generation from China and I am here to experience life. He took off his mask to ask Alice for help. She will never be able to let him. I saw him with a mask. He knew very well that in a world of foreign capital, Alice's influence was not comparable to that of the police. What happened to China's rich second generation? You are nothing here. I will arrest you soon and let you taste the horror of the criminals inside. Zhang Lang growled fiercely. Chapter 683 I can make it evaporate suddenly. Fen Lin, please leave quickly. He really knows the local police. Fan Minyoung nervously grabbed Fen Lin's arm and asked him to leave. Anyway, it was just a kick, and those police officers would definitely not attack him. As long as Fen Lin runs away, they won't chase him. What? You think I'm afraid of him? Fen Lin's hung up no reason to call Alice. This time I called her just to talk to her and see if I could learn some real human secrets from her. Then Fen Lin took out his black business card and dialed the number on it. After a while, Alice's voice came from the other side. Hello? Alice, it's me. My friend is in trouble and needs your help, Fen Lin said over the phone. Ha ha ha. It is my honor to help Mr. Fen Lin. Send me the address coordinates and I will go there immediately. Alice said there. Okay. Fen Lin hung up the phone and sent the location to the other party. By the way, she can raise her aura to the realm of divine aperture, making it easier for the other party to find her. Boy, are you pretending to be crazy? Wait for the police to come later and let me see how crazy you are. Although Shang Lang couldn't hear the voice on the phone, Fen Lin's words were in Chinese language. This shows that the other party is probably Chinese too. So our own white cops are definitely not afraid of them. Fan Minyoung was still a little worried and moved around in confusion. At this moment, the sound of the parking lot came from outside the door. A fat white police officer walked in with a smile. Shang, what happened? Brother John, you are finally here. Shang Lang ran over with a flattering look on his face, then pointed at Fen Lin and said, this kid just physically attacked me. That. John stared at Fen Lin with a playful smile. This will lead to jail. Sir, he insulted me first and then my friend took action. We are considered righteous. For self-defense. Fan Minyoung gritted his teeth and stood in front of Fen Lin. Brother John, don't listen to their nonsense. Look, there are shoe marks on my clothes. Shang Lang pointed to his shirt and then whispered a few words in John's ear. Fen Lin's eyes became colder and Fen Lin heard his words clearly. He said that this woman, Fan Minyoung, is very shy and will definitely catch her with a little threat. Sir, please cooperate. I'm going to arrest you for intentional injury. John removed the handcuffs from his body. Seeing this, Fan Minyoung was so scared that his body trembled and tears fell. No. Don't catch him. Why are you excited? My people haven't arrived yet. Fen Lin had already sensed the person who had broken through the realm before. It's coming here. Haha, you're already on the verge of death and you're still pretending. Shang Lang raised his eyebrows mockingly. Where is your man? Let him come. When he sees Brother John, he may be so scared that Who was this gentleman named John? Can you make me kneel? Alice's voice came from behind. This time she did not bring a bodyguard and was only accompanied by the man with sunglasses from before. When Shang Lang heard the sound, he immediately turned around and found that the person in front of him was not a yellow man. But what if you are white? When facing the police, they should be calm. Who do you think you are? What's wrong with kneeling before Mr. John? It's your honor to kneel. When Shang Lang was flattering, he didn't forget to give John a flattering expression. He feels like a dog that needs praise from its owner. Go away. John slapped John. Shang Lang was so scared that his legs were shaking, and he showed a flattering smile. Miss Alice, why are you here? You know, the Howard family that Alice belongs to is a British aristocrat. The industry under your control is so powerful that he controls the economic livelihood of England. He is a simple police officer, but he doesn't want to kill himself. This kind of thing is actually very common. If you offend these big guys, you may be killed by a hail of bullets. Return home at night. However, they are fully capable of silencing the police department. The news report said that the man committed suicide. In this world of capital is everything. He said offended. Brother John, why did you hit me? Who the hell is your brother? John immediately expressed his loyalty and bowed his head respectfully. Miss Alice. Alice, it's you. Fan Minyoung, who was standing next to Fen Lin, suddenly turned. He covered his mouth. Alice von Howard. The Howard family. When Shang Lang heard this, his face turned pale with fright and he sat on the ground with a plop. He has been in England for decades. How could he not know about this family? The world of overseas capital is different from of China. The capital here can control the country. Howard is exactly the kind of family. Shang Lang offended them and died without knowing how. Who would dare to mess with this young man? In England. Miss Alice, I was wrong, please forgive me. Shang Lang bowed madly to Alice. He now depends on collecting rent to support himself, but he doesn't want to die. What should we do with this person? Alice said with a smile, I can make him suddenly evaporate, and absolutely no one will know. I don't know. Juan followed him. No. I don't want to evaporate. Zhang Lang was so scared that he immediately turned around and bowed to Fen Lin. Brother, I know I was wrong, please spare my life. Zhao Fan, I was wrong, please say a good word to your brother. Fan Minyan looked at all this in shock. He couldn't believe what kind of rich second-generation Fen Lin was in China. To be able to meet a big shot like Alice was originally kind-hearted and didn't want to make things so bad, so she gently put down Fen Lin's sleeve. Fen Lin, otherwise, forget it. Zhang Lang. Brother, from now on it will be free. Zhou Fan will have free water and electricity from now on. I will give you money every month. Zhang Lang hurriedly said when he heard that things were changing. I heard that you are still planning to deceive Zhao Fan. I definitely don't dare to do it anymore. Brother, please spare my life. Zhang Lang knew that Fen Lin knew such an important fish, and he would not have dared even if he had 10 times more courage. If he dares to harm you again in the future, remember send me a message. Fen Lin patted Fan Minyan on the shoulder and walked out with Alice. The purpose of calling Alice here this time was to make a joke. Fan Minyan looked at Fen Lin's back, stunned. Thank you this time, Fen Lin said with a smile. So that's your friend. Alice looked back. She's just a friend's granddaughter. Fen Lin walked out, looked at the Rolls Royce, and narrowed her eyes with a smile. You happen to be very fast. Is your house nearby? No, I'm staying in a nearby hotel, I can take you there. Alice opened the car door and motioned for Fen Lin to get into the car. Fen Lin was not polite, he just wanted to see if she dared to take him to the hotel. Go to the Vienna Hotel. Alice looked at the man with sunglasses in the driver's seat. Fen Lin raised her lips. The previous hotel was not called that at random. At the same time, in front of the Vienna Hotel, a woman wearing a headscarf stepped out of the car and all she could see were her dark blue eyes. The woman was carrying a suitcase. He whispered, Your Majesty the Pope, I have reserved the top floor suite for you. Chapter 684. Pope Athena, you called me by the wrong name again. Not to mention experts, even those with nearby divine orifice realms can hear you. The woman's deep blue eyes looked at the blonde. This person is Athena, who has just returned from China. I'm sorry, Mrs. Juno. Athena's body was shocked and immediately lowered her head. Come in. Juno glanced at Athena lightly and walked towards the hotel. Fen Lin and Alice were sitting in the back seat of the car chatting. Fen Lin suddenly narrowed his eyes and found another realm of penetration in the distance. In addition to this realm, there is a stronger existence. Fen Lin observed through the car window that the two others were on the top floor of the hotel not far away. Miss, we are here. The man with sunglasses in the driver's seat parked the car in the parking space with a smile. Fen Lin's mouth curved imperceptibly. Alice, so you live here. This hotel seems really luxurious. The hotels in the magic city of China are much better than this one. Alice got out of the car and said. Fen Lin also came down and said deliberately, You are so rich, you should live in a luxury suite on the top floor, right? That's natural. Alice looked at the man in sunglasses. The sunglasses man understood and immediately headed to the hotel first, planning to book the hotel's penthouse suite to prevent Fen Lin from discovering the heresy. Alice deliberately held Fen Lin outside for a moment. He pointed to the huge bell tower in the distance. If we have time later, let's go there and take a look. All right. Fen Lin walked towards the hotel with a smile. Alice also felt that time was almost up and followed Fen Lin with a smile. When I arrived at the hotel reception, I found that the man with sunglasses from before was still here. Alice couldn't help but frown. Sorry sir, the suite on the top floor has been reserved. The service staff at the front desk lowered their heads apologetically. Oh. Alice, are you lying to me? You don't live on the top floor at all. Fen Lin said with a smile. How is that possible? Alice walked towards the front desk expressionlessly. We just checked in on the upper floor and didn't check out. How could you leave it to someone else? But, maybe it was the temporary worker's negligence. I won't embarrass you, I'll call the manager myself. Alice took out a mobile phone and dialed a number. She only said a few words and hung up the phone. After a while, a middle-aged man in a suit and glasses quickly approached. Miss Alice, he greeted with a smile from afar. We checked into the top floor of the hotel 20 minutes ago. Why did you rent it to someone else when we checked out? Alice asked with a smile. Manager, it was cleared a day ago. Shut up. The manager pushed the woman away, looked at the screen in front of him and smiled. Miss Alice, it was our negligence. It seems that look, I just said that I didn't lie to you. Alice extended her hands towards Fen Lin. Fen Lin smiled and said nothing. It is true that money can make people go around. This is an oversight by our hotel. I will ask the guests out immediately. As the manager spoke, he winked at several security guards in the distance. The security guard standing in the distance immediately entered the elevator. Several people waited here for a moment and the security guard from before ran out of the elevator. Manager, they won't leave. They said they made the reservation a day ago and paid all the money. The security guard said, holding his stomach, and there was a small footprint on it. Apparently someone kicked him out. Ha ha ha. Let Miss Alice see the joke, I'll go there myself. The manager smiled awkwardly. No, let's talk. If it doesn't work, just change places. Fen Lin looked at Alice. It's the same wherever we chat. Okay, Alice nodded. Several people boarded the elevator together. When you reach the top floor, everything here is the shadow of an ancient European royal palace. Both the ceiling and the floor are full of luxury. Outside the door, in the distance, there were several bodyguards lying there. Seeing this, Alice narrowed her eyes slightly and looked at the man in sunglasses. The man nodded slightly and opened the glass door. I told you a long time ago. Don't bother us. Athena put her hands on her hips and kicked her out. The sunglasses man immediately took a step back and hit Athena on the sole of her foot. Oh! Athena's body flew back. He somersaulted into the air and landed firmly on the ground. When Fen Lin saw that it was Athena, he immediately lowered his face. He had seen his face behind the mask a long time ago when he taught him a lesson. Master. Then I will show no mercy. Athena's eyes showed excitement. Just as he was about to act, Juno put her hand on his shoulder. Excuse me, what's wrong? We booked this suite a day ago and you didn't tell me at the time that it was already occupied. Juno was still wearing a black veil, revealing only her eyes. Hello, my name is Alice von Howard. There is a problem with the system this time. I live here before you come. Alice gave her name first, hoping the other party would understand. That's the hotel's negligence. Go to them to compensate. Juno waved gently, no. You, Alice was a little sad, but didn't she make a face? All right. Fen Lin walked over with a smile. Don't hurt your friendship. Anyway, the place is big. Wouldn't it be good for us to live together? You are? Athena suddenly pointed out. In Fen Lin, this is not Feng Lin. Oh. Do you know me? Fen Lin asked with a smile. Who knows you? You bastard. Athena retreated behind Juno. Okay, let's lie together. Alice walked in. Just as Athena was about to step forward, Juno shook her head gently. It's okay, she didn't want to draw too much attention to herself right now. I can only take a step back and change hotels later. Haha. We don't know each other until we fight. Hello sister, my name is Fen Lin. Fen Lin walked towards Juno with a smile and extended his hand. Athena was with him, and since this woman was so powerful, he was probably the new pope. Sorry, I'm a Middle Eastern woman. Juno didn't reach out and retreated to the sofa next to her. Fen Lin nodded secretly. This was a good reason. The teaching there is that women are covered with shame and that it will be unfortunate for a man to see the face of a strange woman. Therefore, women must cover their faces when going out. Hello little sister, I'm Fen Lin. Fen Lin looked at Athena with a smile. Get out. Athena snorted coldly, puffing her lips and sitting next to Juno. Uncultured, Alice said coldly. Okay, there are ancient warriors around us, maybe we'll meet each other. Fen Lin spread his hands. Let me introduce myself first, I come from China's secret army. Juno's dark blue eyes narrowed into a thin line. Alice's expression was a little strange and she didn't understand what Fen Lin meant. Chapter 685 Follow God's Will. Fen Lin looked at Juno and said with a smile. Actually, I have social anxiety. When I see someone looking into my eyes, I want to swear friendship with them. Sister, how about we swear friends? Fen Lin, you are so presumptuous. Aitnazane got up from the couch, rolled up her sleeves, and was ready to perform. Fen Lin, then you don't agree with me, Alice said with a smile. At this moment, the man with sunglasses in the distance looked at his phone and walked over immediately. Point the phone screen at Alice. Alice's expression changed and she stood up immediately. Fen Lin, something happened at my company and I need to leave. Okay. Then I won't send you away. I'll talk to my sister. Fen Lin smiled. Send Alice to the door and close the door. Who was your sister? Fen Lin, who do you think you are? When Athena saw the stranger leaving, she immediately approached Fen Lin and stared at him. Don't talk to me like Birdsong. I don't understand. Fen Lin's conversation with him just now had a serious British accent. Now that Alice is gone, he also speaks Chinese. You, Athena looked at Juno and said coldly, it's natural to speak English in the West. Mrs. Juno can't understand Chinese. Juno. Are all the queens of mythology dating? Yours the name is really domineering. Fen Lin sat on the sofa with a smile. If you don't understand me, you can be the translator. Juno's dark blue eyes kept looking at Fen Lin, showing no emotion. Athena, this should be your new poet, right? Fen Lin asked with his legs crossed. What did he say? Juno asked calmly. Athena immediately translated Fen Lin's words. Juno nodded slightly. That's right, I'm the Pope. Athena, help me ask him the measurements. She is wearing a black robe and I can't see her, Fen Lin said lightly. You are looking for death, what did he say? Juno continued to ask. He said that the Pope has very beautiful eyes. Athena didn't dare to tell Juno what Fen Lin meant, so she could only tell lies. Fen Lin was lying on the sofa with a smile, watching Athena's panic, which was quite cute. Athena, do you know him? Juno asked lightly. His Holiness, he is the mortuary doctor of China. His name is Fen Lin, Athena explained. Then you are the doctor of death. You are so powerful that you can hide from my perception. Juno stared at Fen Lin. The aura on her body now only hid the realm of divine orifices. Athena has recently entered the realm of penetration through heavenly materials and treasures and earthly training. But she had said before that the Death Doctor was much stronger than her. Obviously, Fen Lin's realm was deliberately hidden. What are Madame Pope's plans? Attack directly or wait a few more days? Fen Lin's face became serious and he spoke in English. I won't tell you. You are indeed a genius, but this battle is not something you can participate in, Juno said calmly. Then I can only wait here and follow Mrs. Pope. Fen Lin smiled and spread his hands. No. Are you afraid of death? Juno asked in a deep voice. I'm still very confident in my escape skills, Fen Lin left. While everyone was talking, the sound of air raid sirens could be heard everywhere. There were many helicopters in the sky. The sound of the speakers echoed throughout the streets. Fen Lin stood by the window, listening to the sounds outside. The general meaning is to ask everyone around to evacuate urgently. In the next few days, high-intensity earthquakes will occur here. Is it your job? Fen Lin turned around and asked, without waiting for them to act directly. Yes, to take precautions before it happens, Our Holy See. He has sent a third of his cardinals this time, Juno said calmly. We will minimize the losses to the outside world. The Holy See and our secret legion, it is a competitive relationship, but in the face of these evil people, at least we are a united front. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone and opened the text message that Kai Leng sent him. These ruins have another entrance and exit. That. Juno was suspicious. Getting up, are you serious? This is a message from my friend who was lurking in the real world. Fen Lin walked over and handed the phone to Athena. You translate it. Okay. Athena, also knowing the importance of this matter, translated this text message to Juno. I almost missed something important. Athena, please notify Bishop Leo immediately to evacuate the residents of the other entranced city. Juno gave the order. Yes. Athena handed the phone back to Fen Lin, immediately took it out and made a call. Fen Lin continued to look out the window. Alice left in a hurry just now, so she must have heard about this. Furthermore, the 3 teachers sent by the country each have their own ideas. This time, Fen Lin must be careful. At the same time. In a cafe somewhere on the street. 3 Chinese were sitting here, looking at the terrified crowd on the street. They were the 3 people sent by China. Dupoxy drank his coffee in one gulp and gently raised his gold-rimmed glasses. Senior, I'm going out to take a look. Please notify me on your phone before taking action. All right. Zhang Zuqing nodded slightly. Zhang Zu leaned on the chair and stroked his beard with a smile. Dad, do you think I should follow you? It's up to you, Zhang Zuqing said softly. Haha, I'm very curious. Zhang Zu stood up with a smile and walked out. Dugu walked down the street at dawn, walking in reverse among these terrified people. An old woman holding a guiding staff and covering her eyes with a black cloth passed Dugu of dawn. This person is none other than Golden Phoenix. In the blink of an eye, the Golden Phoenix disappeared into the vast sea of people. Dugu reached into her pocket and took out a note. After reading it, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly and the note turned into ashes in his palm. He continued to walk forward, and soon after, his cell phone received a message from Zhang Zuqing, asking him to rush to the entrance immediately. Dugu looked back and disappeared in the blink of an eye. In front of the hotel with the actual human entrance. Athena has put on the mask of the cross. Fen Lin also put on a human skin mask and followed Juno. The explanation he gave was that the country did not want him to enter, but he insisted on entering. Of course, Juno wouldn't stop him. A genius like Fen Lin would be dead. Otherwise, he will be a strong enemy of the Holy See in the future. His Holiness the Pope. In front of the hotel door there were a large number of bishops dressed in red. Seeing Juno approaching, he lowered his head slightly. Miss Pope, I am Zhang King. This is the dog Zhangzu. Zhang King looked at Duke Elixia again. This is Duke Elixia, who has occupied the Chinese summer rankings for several years. He spoke in Chinese. Following Juno, Athena next to her was immediately translated. I heard Mr. Zhang's name a long time ago. Please cooperate with me this time. Juno said calmly. Athena followed the interpreter. Zhang King nodded and stepped aside. Juno looked around and shouted loudly. Heresies are rampant and harmful to nature. We, the Holy See, follow the will of God and judge them. We can kill as much as we want and God will forgive our sins. Follow God's will. Charge. A bald old man in a red robe ran towards the hotel. Boom. All the remaining masters rushed in. Fen Lin scratched his head in embarrassment. His reasons were truly implausible. Now that everyone has rushed over, he can only do the same. P.S. It's a new month and a new beginning. Whether at school or at work, let's all run together. Chapter 686. The end of light is darkness. A large hole has been opened in the hotel lobby in front of you and you can clearly see the basement level. The architectural design here is similar to that of the original Alliance. However, the steel door had broken into pieces, revealing the hole behind it. Whoa, whoa. The cardinals entered here one by one. Fen Lin also turned into a ray of light and entered the ruins. The surrounding scene began to change. Unlike the high-rise buildings outside, there were simple farmlands inside. Grow some vegetables, food and other necessities. In the depths there are white buildings. Unlike the Huaxia branch, the buildings here are one after another. Like a school building. Seeing this, Fen Lin couldn't contain the killing intent in his heart. He didn't know how many people died here. Fen Lin's main goal is not to kill, but to save people. He hid in a deserted corner, put on his invisible mask, put on a black coat, and immediately rushed deeper. Now, a big war is going on here. The surprising thing is that real humans are already prepared. They went toe-to-toe with the Vatican's top experts and were no slouches at all. Especially for masters who have undergone a transformation, relying on special means, people of the same level are still no match for them. However, Fen Lin had no intention of meddling in these nosy matters. The Pope has not entered yet, which shows that she also wants these people to be left alone. Others are not in a hurry. Why should I be nervous? Oh. Fen Lin entered through the window of a building and jumped onto the white building. Everyone who found this place was evacuated. He felt it carefully and landed on the steel floor. He squatted down and pressed his hand on the iron plate. The black smoke from the ashes holy gradually melted the steel, revealing the people hiding underneath. Ah! Don't kill me. Don't kill us, we are innocent. There are men and women below. In comparison, there are more women. They were all wearing white medical clothes and looked like nurses. Fen Lin jumped up, full of energy. Boom. Everyone around them was pressed to the ground, unable to get up. Immediately afterwards, the woman screamed in panic. Fen Lin grabbed a white nurse and asked her in English, "Where are the others?" All those people are hiding and leaving you here to die. Do you still want to protect them? In this situation, Fen Lin believes that sowing discord is the most effective. Sure enough, the woman wiped away her tears and said fiercely, "They went to the headquarters. They are a bunch of bastards. They only took away the scientific researchers and some precious experimental subjects, and let us stay and wait to die." Others around them also gathered around. Go up. Fen Lin was right. They didn't consider themselves human beings, so why should they be on your side? Only the Dean here knows the location of the headquarters. He is in the center of the ruins. The Dean is very powerful and has many masters around him. They all told the news to Fen Lin. Stop. Fen Lin stretched out his hand to stop these people. Have you ever met Zhu Chuan and Wang Qin? They're Chinese. I know. Deep in the crowd, there was an Asian nurse. She broke away from the crowd and said, "I speak Chinese and I normally take care of your daily life." Oh. Fen Lin had some surprise on his face. How are you doing now? Have real humans harmed them? No, real humans take good care of them, but they have to draw blood from Zhu Chuan every day. The nurse paused and said, at first they resisted, but after seeing the dead around them, they began to cooperate. Fen Lin nodded. It seems that his previous guess was correct. Both should be fine. Were they also taken to the headquarters? Although he knew the answer, Fen Lin still asked. Yes, they were the first to be removed, the nurse replied. Fen Lin suddenly disappeared here. The life and death of these people has nothing to do with him, it depends on how those in the Holy See treat them. Fen Lin continued to run deeper and finally found a powerful aura in the distance. There are 4 people in the Dakan realm. This is not the headquarters yet. The rumored real human being lives up to his reputation. Fen Lin sat on the roof, looked into the distance and saw an acquaintance. That's Xiaoren from the China branch. We let him escape last time, but I didn't expect him to come to the headquarters. Team Peaky, such a powerful fluctuation must be caused by a master entering and activating the formation, right? Xiaoren looked at the bearded old man next to him. This fluctuation is comparable to mine. It should be the 4th level of Dakan. The Pope has not come yet. Peggy stood with her hands behind her hands, looking into the distance. We must catch her in formation. Fen Lin clasped his hands in Pat's pockets, roughly guessing how they would handle it. All teachers like the Pope become trapped in training and consumed. When he reaches his limit, let the masters of the headquarters come forward and crush him. The Holy See has lost a Pope who will never come again in the near future. Real humans also have enough time to change positions. I have to say that the powerful forces are really different. There is a piece of trash in the divine realm over there. I'm going to kill him. Xiaoren suddenly pointed at Fen Lin and said, "No need, it's just an ant." Paige didn't take Fen Lin seriously. This kind of person couldn't even make a splash in a battle in the Dakan realm. Oh. Suddenly, an old man turned into a blue light and rushed towards Paige in the blink of an eye. It turns out to be Zhang King from China. I didn't expect you to come. Peppa smiled and said in non-standard Chinese. Former number 2 Cardinal Page George turned out to be a real human hawk. What a shame for the Holy See. As Zhang King spoke, Dukalixi also appeared here. Zhang King, I am here to break through to a higher realm. Page smiled and spread his hands. I have been trapped at the peak of the 3rd level of Dakan for decades and my life will be exhausted at any moment. I am a real human being. Use the medicine to extend my lifespan. At the same time, Juno and several powerful cardinals also appeared here. When they saw Page in front of them, everyone couldn't believe it. This comrade who had retired and disappeared in the past turned out to be Mr. Page. You disappoint me so much. Juno's cold voice came. Papa Juno, who doesn't create power. Upon entering you will enter a new kingdom with the help of a real human being, and your life expectancy will increase by at least 10 years. Don't you envy me? Of course not. You, this demon who fell into darkness. Juno said coldly. It's not time for you yet. The older a person is, the richer and more powerful he is, the more afraid he is of death. Old man, join me as a real human being. We will definitely evolve into a new human being until we live forever. Page made an inviting gesture to several people. Fen Lin couldn't help but laugh. These people from the Holy See all had top-notch speaking talents. Will no one join? Let me show you what true darkness is. Page stepped on the ground. Humming. Under her feet, a huge formation mark appeared. When Juno saw this, she turned into a chain of white light and rushed towards Page instantly. Judgment of light. A huge cross of white light appeared in front of her. Light. At the end of the light is darkness. Page stared. Brush. In an instant, everything around him turned black and nothing could be seen. Fen Lin's pupil shrank and he immediately stood up and looked. There was no light around him and he couldn't see his fingers. Even if ki is released, no light can be seen. Chapter 687 The Basis of True Humanity. Fen Lin held his chin and thought. Without the help of his eyes, even if he could sense the opponent's position, his shots would have limitations. However, in this environment, Fen Lin's divine rebellion can be used to its fullest. Start preparing plan no. 1. Page's voice was heard. When Fen Lin heard this, he immediately spread the holy ashku throughout his body. Brush. 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 The sound of countless stones hitting the ground came from everywhere. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. Were these people joking? Stone someone. Hearing a voice fall in front of him, Fen Lin reached out to touch it. This form, shit. Grenade. Fen Lin cursed. Boom. Boom. Countless explosions came from all sides. However, the holy ashku on Fen Lin could completely block these attacks. As for the Pope and other Dakan realms, they can be easily resolved by distributing ki throughout the body. What are they doing? Fen Lin became more and more confused, which was obviously a waste of grenades. Boom. 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 Grenades continued to ring out everywhere, and suddenly, Fen Lin snorted. Gas bombs. Just as Fen Lin was about to retreat, the holy ashku at the tip of his little finger trembled slightly. This isn't a goo insect. Fen Lin looked stunned and finally understood. No wonder these people dated Kai Lin and turned out to be the goo insects who trained her. Ah. What is it? It seems to be sucking my blood. Is it a ghost? My body seems to be covered in things. Screams could be heard everywhere. Don't be nervous, it's goo. Continuously explode energy, cast resonance around the body, and it will kill. Juno shouted to the surroundings, I will kill the enemy. Although he couldn't see it, Fen Lin could still sense that a fierce battle was being fought in the distance. You seem to like eating a lot, so go ahead and eat as much as you want. Fen Lin allowed these goo insects to crawl on him, and then he was swallowed by holy ash goo. Oh. Suddenly, a master who had broken through the realm attacked Fen Lin. Fen Lin greeted softly. Swish, brush, brush. 3 white emperor holy swords penetrated his body. Grandpa, you still want to kill me? Fen Lin walked over and touched the man's head and found that he was wearing a helmet. He touched it lightly and couldn't help but laugh. Night vision goggles were used. They're indeed human beings, and, although they are also ancient warriors, they use technology in their battles. Fen Lin took off his helmet and put it on his head. By adjusting the night vision device to his eyes, the image was finally different. This is an infrared thermal imaging camera that can clearly see the contour of the human body. The surrounding buildings can also be seen vaguely. Fen Lin looked into the distance. In the darkness, the battle had begun. Violent vibrations continued to sound everywhere. However, Juno was looking into the air and darting wildly. Fen Lin carefully sensed that there was indeed a powerful aura in front of Juno. It turns out that in addition to darkness, the formation can also create illusions. Juno. Stop fighting. You're fighting a doll. Fen Lin shouted in the distance. He didn't want the real battle to come yet. First he ran out of power. Juno ignored Fen Lin and continued fighting in the distance. Fen Lin had no choice but to look deep into the depths, where Teen Page was hiding his aura. Oh. Fen Lin suddenly ran over. He was at the 4th level of Dakan and discovered Fen Lin immediately. He hit. Boom. A terrifying storm formed and battered Fen Lin's body. Fen Lin used Divine Rebellion and returned to his original position. Juno, who was fighting, immediately moved out of the way. Why is there still a 4th level Dakan? Fen Lin explained helplessly. That's real, sister, you are so embarrassing. Brat. You are looking for death. In the distance, Paige discovered Fen Lin's figure through thermal imaging. Notice the helmet on his head. This mirror egg in the divine orifice realm actually dared to ruin his important affairs. Brush. He stepped on the ground and jumped towards Fen Lin. Juno immediately ran over and stood in front of Fen Lin. Holy arrows. He opened his arms and a dozen silver arrows appeared around his body. Each one is the thickness of a wrist and 2 meters long. Oh. All these silver bows and arrows attacked Paige. Fen Lin carefully sensed that this move was similar to the White Emperor Holy Sword. However, it seems impossible to control it. Juno took the opportunity to turn around and immediately jumped towards Fen Lin. Where are you? Bang. She directly led Fen Lin to hit someone with a ball. Fen Lin's head bounced and he almost fell. Fortunately, he was relatively familiar with ball attacks. He just took 2 steps back and stabilized his body. Juno was not interested in worrying about it, grabbed Fen Lin by the shoulders and evacuated far away. Are you Fen Lin? Juno asked calmly when she reached the top of a building. That's right, put this on. Fen Lin took off his helmet and handed it to Juno. Juno did as he was told and suddenly a portrait appeared in front of him. In addition to darkness, this formation will also create ghosts for you. Its purpose is to consume you. You should know that the true masters of real humans are still watching you from the darkness, Fen Lin explained in a low voice. Do you mean that the masters of true humanity are also here? Juno asked in a deep voice. He had long heard that the True Humanity organization has Dakan 5th level combat power. There are also many foreign teachers. This time I went in and didn't see anyone. Yes, I have a way to make all those masters appear, Fen Lin said with a smile. What can I do? Juno asked. Go and kill Paige. He masters the transfer formation. He is so afraid of death that he will definitely open the formation before he dies, Fen Lin explained with a smile. Fen Lin, I will definitely thank you when this mission is completed. After Juno finished speaking, she disappeared here. Fen Lin sensed the atmosphere around him and instantly reached a temperate realm. I touched his head and found that he had a big bald head. He appears to be one of us. Then he immediately moved out of the way, and another came after him. He touched it and found the helmet on his head. He immediately snatched it away and returned to his original position. He put on his helmet and looked around. Juno in the distance has found Paige hiding. Even if his breath can be hidden, his body heat cannot be hidden. It seems that the real war is about to begin. Paige. Heretic, you betrayed God, I will send you to hell. Juno accurately caught Paige and suddenly compressed the air around him. Boom. Page was controlled in the air. Can you catch me? Break it for me. Page roared angrily and all his fourth-level power exploded. Disperse surrounding compressed air. Brush. The moment Page shook the air, a silver arrow penetrated his stomach. Used to me saying your name. Can't you react to this move without saying your name? The figure of Juno appeared next to Page. I underestimated you. Page threw a formation disc from the space ring. Do you think this is the only true human inheritance? Let me see what terror is. Fen Lin looked into the distance, the ground around him shaking violently. The Dakan realm masters appeared one by one. In the end there were 7. One of them emitted more fluctuations than Juno. It seems that through the transfer of the formation disc, I dodged it first. Fen Lin looked into the distance, quickly approached, and a black shadow flew towards the formation disc. Brush. The next moment, Fen Lin's body appeared on the formation disc. Chapter 688 Invincible. Fen Lin activated the transfer formation of his feet and disappeared here instantly. No, someone came in. A magnetic female voice came, but it was still a step too late. Fen Lin appeared on a grassland. It was no longer dark, but a sunny place. He looked at the many masters watching around him and said solemnly, a big shot from the outside world has arrived. The boss asked me to put away the formation disc. Fen Lin looked at the flickering light on the formation disc. It was obvious that someone was entering. He immediately leaned over and put it into the space ring. Who the hell are you? A man with short blue hair and pointed ears looked at Fen Lin and shouted. The True Humanity Organization has a clear rule that no one is allowed to enter here. He had just come out to the 7 realms of great perfection, so the man wearing the mask was obviously a stranger. Fen Lin had a difficult experience and discovered that there was no Dakan realm here. Under Dakan, no matter how many people there are, they cannot cause harm to Fen Lin. He stood with his hands behind his hands, as black smoke gradually rose from his black mask. Let me introduce myself. I like to sing, dance and play basketball. Fen Lin paused, looked around, and spoke arrogantly. Here are the Invisible Fens. Invisible Fens. Everyone around looked at Fen Lin. Yes, the Invisible is my organization and the Fens are my code name, Fen Lin said coldly. What? Are you from the Invisible Organization? The invisible person who destroyed the Dragon Palace with only 3 people at the beginning. I remember, the people from the Invisible Organization had black smoke coming out of their heads. Everyone around there was a lot of discussion and everyone backed away. Although the Dragon Palace is far inferior to real humans, they have several large kingdoms. Now the Dakan realm of the true human headquarters is gone. How could he be the opponent of an invisible organization? What the hell do you want to do? We real humans are not like the Dragon Palace. If you enter without permission, you will die. A yellow-haired old man with animal ears on his head said sternly. His kingdom is the pinnacle of temper. The real human organization, everyone must be punished. They deserve to be killed. Fen Lin waved with one hand, and a dark red sword with a length of more than 10 meters appeared in his hand. How dare you speak such big words at a merely divine level? Could it be that you were the one who destroyed the Dragon Palace in the first place? The yellow-haired old man dismissed him and roared angrily. Kill him. Boom. Many masters around him attacked Fen Lin. Sorry. I'm actually the one from Dragon Slayer Palace. Fen Lin bowed. Oh. He exploded to the limit of his only energy and ran towards the crowd. With a single sword strike, dozens of people were killed and injured. The ground around them shook and the screams continued. Without the Dakan realm, Fen Lin would be invincible and unbeatable. He casts out the fallen soul, like a demon, harvesting life around him. In a few breaths, hundreds of masters died in Fen Lin's hands. Among them there was no shortage of temper peaks. In less than a minute, the experts gathered here were defeated by Fen Lin alone. Fen Lin walked towards the depths like lightning. At the deepest level, there are many ordinary people without ki. He never feels sorry for these people, real humans are cancer. Zeng. The 10-meter-long sword stopped in front of the neck of a blue-haired girl. Fen Lin had met this person before, his name was Shu Miao. The last time I wanted to capture Zhuoying, there was this woman. However, Zhuoying was kind-hearted in the end and asked Fen Lin to let her go. Hit. Shu Miao's legs trembled, looking at the dark red sword in front of her neck, her body softened and she sat on the ground. He breathed raggedly and broke into a cold sweat. Now, no one around him dared to fight Fen Lin head-on. The sword in his hand suddenly disappeared. He took a step forward and approached Shu Miao. Take me to see Zhu Chuan and Wei King. Fen Lin spoke Chinese this time. Yuan Itsui. Shu Miao clearly remembered this person's voice. She has been staying here since Fen Lin caught her last time. My memory of the time is very clear. Don't talk nonsense. You have one more chance. Fen Lin raised his hand and a small dark red sword appeared in his palm. Seeing this move, Shui Miao was even more sure of Fen Lin's identity. Shui Miao stood up from the ground tremblingly and walked deeper. Fen Lin breathed a sigh of relief as he was finally able to rescue Zhu Ruan's parents. It also resolved one of his concerns. Going to the deep building, Fen Lin saw many bald children, both men and women. His skin is all sickly and his eyes are empty. Fen Lin couldn't bear to see him. Perhaps once upon a time, the fourth child was like this and became a test subject for those people. Seeing this, Fen Lin became more determined to destroy the real humans. Under the leadership of Shui Miao, they arrived at the third floor of the building. The doors and hallways here are made of steel. This room Shui Miao stopped in front of the door of room 301. Fen Lin took off his mask and pressed the door with his hand. Shui Miao looked at Fen Lin and although she had already guessed it, she was still surprised. How strong is this person? Even masters who have been tempered to the maximum are like weeds in front of him. The black smoke from the ashes holy glue melted a large hole in the door lock. Open the door. The interior decoration is similar to that of a hospital room. Zhu Chuan was lying on the hospital bed with a pale face, and Wai King next to him was peeling an apple. When Wai King heard someone coming in, she felt a little excited. Didn't you just draw blood this morning? After saying that, she turned and looked at Fen Lin in front of her, and the apples in her hand fell down. Fen Lin, you're Fen Lin. I'm here to save you. Fen Lin walked over expressionlessly. He had no feelings for Wai King, but Zhu Chuan was considered an old man in his eyes. Husband. I can go. Wai King danced excitedly. Fen Lin grabbed Zhu Chuan's wrist and felt it carefully. It's nothing serious. Just go out and recover for a month. Fen Lin, how did you get in? These people are monsters. Zhu Chuan also sat up from the bed. Stand. You sneaked in while they were fighting. Fen Lin looked at Shui Miao. Where is the entrance? The entry is a formation disc, Shui Miao explained. That. Fen Lin frowned in shock. These ruins have no entrance or exit. This is not a ruin, it is a ghost formation, Shui Miao explained, so, unless we open the formation ourselves, we can't find the real human headquarters. I expected them to build the headquarters in the illusion array. Doesn't this mean that if you want to leave with Zhu Chuan Wai King, you must return to the previous ruins? There are many masters there and it would be risky for Fen Lin to escape alone. It is almost impossible to take you. Besides the formation disc, is there any other way to get out? Fen Lin asked. Besides this method, it serves to disable or destroy the illusory formation, Shui Miao explained. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Wando Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 689 Isn't he dead yet? Fen Lin frowned. This method was not the best option. The ghost formation here is similar to the ghost formation in the Tomb of the Three Kings earlier, or the ghost formation in the Dragon Palace. Just excavate a huge space somewhere and carve the formation inside. Therefore, the location here should still be within the ruins. If you destroy it, it will eventually appear among the ruins. Fen Lin, what's going on? Can't we leave? Zhu Chuan asked nervously. If you want to leave, there is only one way, but the strong men outside are still fighting. I will take you there. The risk is very high. Fen Lin shook his head. If they were ancient warriors, Fen Lin could also use the Tantai family's transfer token. The transferable token is different from the formation disc, which requires ki to be boosted. They are both ordinary people. What should we do? Wai King suddenly grimaced. Don't worry, let me think about it. Fen Lin looked at Shui Miao next to him. Is this the only way to lead to this formation? I don't know, but we usually rely on this to move formation disc, Shui Miao explained from the side. In that case, let's wait until they both lose. Now there is no other good way than this. Fen Lin, let me tell you something. When Zhu Chuan spoke, he looked at Shui Miao next to him. You go out first. Fen Lin pushed Shui Miao's shoulder. Oh, Shui Miao nodded and left the room. Zhu Chuan stretched out his hand and said, bring me your mobile phone. Fen Lin thought that Zhu Chuan was going to call Zhu Ruang, so he gave her his mobile phone. But Zhu Chuan did not make a call, but instead opened Fen Lin's notepad and entered a text string. Then returned it to Fen Lin. Fen Lin looked at it and saw a direction on it. This is about my father, Zhu, Zhu Chuan said in a deep voice. Zhu. Fen Lin narrowed his eyes. He had heard this name many times. Yes, these people have been asking for news about my father since they caught me. When I said my father was dead, they asked me about the location of the grave. Under their pressure, I told them. At this point, Zhu Chuan lowered his voice. But is the tomb fake? Fake. Fen Lin looked confused. Yes, we all have cremations here, but my father didn't want his body to be lost, so he asked me to secretly bury him at home and build a fake grave in the Zhang City cemetery. Zhu Chuan paused and said, I told you this. The group's one is a fake tomb, and the address they gave you is the real tomb. Fen Lin frowned and looked at the address on his mobile phone. According to the news he now knows, Zugusalu is a purebred descendant of Tufu. It is logical that it has a long useful life. Is it possible? Fen Lin's pupil suddenly shrank. Isn't he dead yet? Fen Lin, my father is buried in the courtyard of my hometown, but I'm afraid these people will find my hometown. If we can't escape this time, go back and level the grave in my hometown. Even Zhang doesn't know. Nothing from this hometown, Zhu Chuan said, grabbing Wang Qing's hand. Wang Qing shrugged hers involuntarily, and although his face turned pale with fear, his hand firmly grasped Zhu Chuan. I will do my best to get you out. Fen Lin didn't sit here to wait for death. He asked Zhu Chuan and Wang Qing to wait in the room, then he went out alone and found Shu Miao. Were there any prominent scientists here? Take neither. Fen Lin put on the mask again. These mad scientists were also cancerous. As long as they exist, they will always do something that threatens society. Fen Lin was ready to go and kill them. At the same time, the ruins have entered a fevered pitch. Dad can fight, avoiding all kingdoms. Terrifying power radiates from the darkness, and those below the Dakan realm can die from the consequences just by approaching it. On the side of true human beings, there were 4 great realms of achievement before, plus 7 new ones. There are a total of 11 Dakan kingdoms. Among them, the head of the royal humans, Egg, has reached the 5th level of Dakan. Page, Dakan level 4. There are also 2 Dakan level 3 and 2 Dakan level 2. The remaining 5 have reached the 1st level. In fact, a master with this level can be called a higher power. Compared with them, the other side's combat power is much lower. Pope Juno is the 5th level of Dakan. There is also Bishop Leo, a 4th level Dakan. Apart from the 2 of them, there is only one 1st level Bishop of Dakan left. On the Chinese side, Zhangzu King is at the 4th level of Dakan. The remaining Dubu Pazhao and Zhangzu are at the 2nd level of Dakan respectively. There are 6 of them. And during the battle, there were always 5 people and 1 was missing. However, 4 of these 5 people are powerful. Dubu dawns like the god of death in the darkness, silently approaching. No one knows what tricks he used and defeated 5 top-level Dakan alone, including Zhao Ren, who escaped from Fen Lin last time. He reduced the number of his enemies from 11 to 6. The first-order Dakan on the side of the Holy See was killed by the second-order Dakan of true humanity. In comparison, the real human Egg is extremely powerful and is not afraid of being injured. In just 10 minutes, Juno was defeated and seriously injured. Page. Raise the darkness. Egg suddenly roared. Yeah. Peggy, who had been avoiding Zhangzu King's attack, suddenly raised the formation. Buzz. Everything around him suddenly regained its light. Before everyone's eyes, everything disappeared, and only the devastated Lois could be seen. Swish, brush, brush. The moment the formation was released, Zhangzu King controlled the surrounding ice spikes to penetrate Peggy's body. Paige had been seriously injured by Juno before and did not fight Zhangzu King. He was running away the entire time. He didn't expect that when he raised the formation, he would be hit. Oh. A black shadow flashed towards him and Zhangzu King immediately retreated. The black shadow dissipated, revealing an old man with white fangs. This person is none other than the real human boss, Egg. Paige, you're going to die. Do you need to inject antibodies? There was a syringe in Egg's hand with a red liquid inside. Of course. Paige grabbed the potion with one hand and injected it into his neck. His eyes suddenly turned red. Boom. A terrifying power erupted from his body, and the ice that passed through his body instantly turned into ice slag. Ah! Paige scratched his head and screamed in pain. In the wounds on his body, cells began to divide madly and finally healed. Oh! He attacked Zhangzu King without thinking. While they were being treated, Juno also took the healing medicine and took the opportunity to recover. He suddenly asked, "Why don't you see Zhangzu? It seems like his aura disappeared at the beginning." "I don't know, Zhangzu was obviously as strong as me, but unexpectedly he is as timid as a mouse." Elixir retired with a smile in front of Juno, said in fluent English. "The white bandage on his hand has been dyed red." At this moment, the true human masters attacked again and the two sides fought fiercely again. Grandpa, why don't you do something? Outside, in a tall building in front of the hotel, a two-tailed woman sitting on a chair and playing with a doll in her hands asked softly. The woman is wearing pajamas, bunny and a pure white mask. The mask has no patterns or holes, not even for the eyes and nose. He spoke in a milky voice, but judging from his height, he was at least 1.7 meters tall. Wait a moment and act immediately, said Golden Phoenix on the other side with a smile. Chapter 690 The Nightmare is Coming. Little Rabbit, don't worry. The hexagram says that today I will kill 77 people, and I can't kill them all bald. In this case, it will be good luck. On the other side, there was a middle-aged man in a suit with greasy hair. Tall, with a Chinese character face, thick eyebrows and big eyes. It gives people the feeling of an honest person. He looked at the red apple in his hand and whispered, the rest is all yours. Senator Luo, is the apple today's talisman? Jin Feng Huang asked with a smile. Yes, today's the third day of the Lunar New Year. The hexagram says that carrying an apple can ensure safety. Senator Luo stared at the red apple expressionlessly. Ha! Jin Feng Huang smiled and shook his head. Uncle Luo, I want to eat an apple. Jin Zhao put down the doll in his hand and walked towards Luo with a sweet voice. Judging from his figure, he was at least over 20 years old, but his voice and demeanor were like that of a child. No, I can give you oranges. Senator Luo took out 2 oranges from the space ring, but if you want to steal my apple today, kill me first. Buzz. At this moment, the transfer token in Golden Phoenix's hand flashed. But it disappeared in a moment. After about 5 seconds it turns on again. Okay, the mission begins. Sinuo, Zhao, do you remember the faces of those 2 people? Jin Feng Huang took out a pure white mask and put it on his face. Grandpa, remember. Jin Zhao nodded heavily. Senator Luo also took out a pure white mask and covered his face. Then let's go. Oops. Golden Phoenix activated the transfer token and disappeared here in the blink of an eye. Senator Luo said calmly. Both of them took out the transfer formation tokens and disappeared here. Inside the ruins. 3 people appeared at the edge of the entrance to the ruins. In the distance, Dugulisha was fighting fiercely with a tier 3 Daken orc. He turned to look at the 3 people who entered and immediately walked deeper away. Who are you? This beast clanmaster originally planned to chase him, but also discover Jin Feng Huang and others. If you are not bald, you can kill him. Senator Luo held the apple in his left hand and walked towards the old man step by step. Humble. Do you know who I am? The orc master roared angrily, flashed a golden light, and hit Senator Luo in the chest. Boom. The surrounding land was shattered and collapsing madly. The orc master sneered again and again, but the next moment his smile stopped abruptly. He felt as if something entered from his fist, to his arm and then to his body. Bloom. Beautiful flowers. Senator Luo opened his arms. Swish, brush, brush. There seems to be something moving inside the beast race master's body. The next moment, countless vines emerged from his skin and took root in the earth. A blood-red flower bloomed on his neck. The orc master looked horrified and finally died like this. The first one, Sinuo murmured softly, holding the apple and walking deeper. Jin Feng Huang chuckled, little rabbit, go too, be careful. It's okay, Grandma. Jin Zhao jumped into the sky and threw himself into the crowd. No. Something bad is happening. W came to the combat area in a panic and shouted in 2 languages. The nightmare is coming. The nightmare organization is coming. What? The nightmare. I was about to do it. Prepare Egger, who continued attacking, immediately retreated. Now, except Egg, everyone here is seriously injured. Among them, Paige has lost her mind and is exchanging lives with Zhang King. Not only real humans, but everyone here in the Holy See has also heard of the name of the Nightmare Organization. Although they have kept a low profile in recent years, their reputation remains the same as before. 32. In the distance, Senator Luo was walking towards here with an apple in his left hand, as if he was strolling through a garden. It's really a nightmare organization. Juno looked at the pure white mask and thought something was wrong. She was seriously injured and could no longer fight for a long time. Boom. The golden bunny whose white pajamas were dyed red also landed here. Don't be nervous everyone, we're just here to get something. Jin Feng Huang walked here holding a black guide stick. She took out a piece of paper from the space ring and looked at the people in front of her. Boss, you took it the other way around. Senator Luo covered his head helplessly. Oh, after all, I am blind. Please bear with me. Jin Feng Huang smiled and turned over the white paper, which contained a printed color photograph. They are Sichuan and Wang King respectively. Seeing these two people, everyone in the Holy See was taken aback. But the expressions on the real humans' faces were a bit unnatural. Hand over these two people and hand them over, and we will leave immediately. Lin Feng smiled and took the photos. If you don't hand them over, I can only kill you all. Kill. Jin Zhao's milky voice said angrily. HNPH. Your strength isn't that good either, but you speak quite wildly, Egg replied in Chinese. The only one confused here is Juno. She is a good student and has practiced with the old Pope since she was a child. In your world, apart from eating and sleeping, the only thing left is spiritual practice. Where do you have time to learn a foreign language? What are you talking about? Juno looked at Bishop Liu in the distance. I don't quite understand it. It seems that the old woman in the nightmare is the mother of the two people in the photo. She came here to save the children, Liu said quietly. That's it. Juno nodded secretly. You'll know in a moment if you're crazy or not, Lin Feng said with a smile. I'll give you 5 seconds to think about it. If you don't answer or refuse, we'll start killing people. The air around them solidified for a moment. What did she say? Juno asked quietly. That woman and the real human boss were once lovers and were reminiscing about the past. Leo stood up. He stood with his hands behind his back and said calmly. As expected at Bishop Leo, there are not many masters of the older generation who can master foreign languages. Juno praised. I know a little bit. Leo smiled and touched himself. Nose. 5 seconds have passed. Senator Luo Zhao has killed all the Dakan realms below the 4th level present, Lin Feng said with a smile. As for the 5th level masters, leave them to me. Fuck. Senator Luo suddenly hit. How many did I kill just now? 32, Lin Feng said with a smile. Thank you, boss. Senator Luo took the apple and walked away. Senior Zhang, retreat to my side. Exclamation mark. Zhao shouted at Zhang Ziking, who was fighting in the distance in the dark sky. Zhang Ziking looked at Zhao and immediately appeared. Crazy Page suddenly followed him. Whoops. Sun Luo stepped forward and blocked the page's path. Brush. Crazy Page pierced Senator Luo's chest with a claw. Edgar in the distance sneered. What kind of rubbish nightmare is this? Not a drop of blood came out of his pierced chest. Chapter 691 Zhang Zu's plan. There was no blood in Senator Luo's wound. Instead, countless tiny vines emerged, like sinuous snakes, burrowing into Page's arms. Another flower blooming. As Senator Luo sighed, the skin on Senator Luo's body began to swell. Swish, brush, brush. Vines grew inside him and a flower sprouted from his neck. Dad can level 4, it should have taken a lot of effort to kill you, but you lost your mind. The vines at the entrance of the cave in front of Senator Luo intertwined with each other, and finally the vines blocked the entrance. Everyone around was shocked to see this. What skill is this? And this way of killing gives people a strange feeling. Cruel but artistic. What is certain now is that the other party is definitely not a pure human race. Egg looked at this man in disbelief. The legendary nightmare is really powerful. Sun Luo held the apple in his left hand and continued walking towards a woman with pointed blue ears. It's time to turn 34. Stop. Egg was suffocated by this powerful chilling aura. Although he was not injured, most of his physical energy and ki were consumed. The key of the 5th level of Dakan, in a world that lacks spiritual power, cannot find supplementary treasures of heaven and earth. Like dry land, it is impossible to save it with a bottle of mineral water. I can hand over the person, but I can't do it now. Iger took out the formation disk from the space ring, put it on the ground and said, this is the key to the headquarters, but the other one was put into a space ring. While speaking, Egg stepped on the formation disk, but no light was shining. Bring the things here, Lin Feng greeted gently. Edgar leaned down and threw the formation disk towards Golden Phoenix. Brush. Jin Zhaodu, who was next to Lin Feng, caught him with one hand and placed him on the ground. Zhaodu, just step on it. The people inside want to make both people suffer, so they plan to go out. Lin Feng said with a smile. I know. Jin Zhaodu hugged the doll and squatted on the formation plate. There was a brief silence around. At the same time, Fen Lin, led by Shu Miao, arrived at a base. Fen Lin could feel the breath inside. You'd better not go in. Fen Lin looked at Shu Miao next to him. Be careful not to get into trouble. Shu Miao knew what Fen Lin meant. To put it bluntly, she was Fen Lin's leader now. In the future, if the true human race is not destroyed, some people may have problems with it. Shu Miao weighed the pros and cons and listened to Fen Lin's words. Fen Lin jumped up and jumped towards the window. It vibrated slightly with resonance. Bullet. The windows, along with the surrounding walls, had cracks and collapsed. He entered a laboratory. About 20 people came into view. Most of them are older people, both men and women. However, 2 young women among them were extremely eye-catching. Although one is wearing a white mask, judging by his hairstyle and eyes. This person is none other than Alice. Lin did not expect that Alice was a real human scientific researcher. Besides her, there is also a cold woman with blonde hair. Her eyes are golden and very strange. Hey, you are all cancer. It would be great to have this kind of talent and use it in the right way. Lin gently raised his hand and a dark red sword more than 10 meters long appeared in his hand. He closed his eyes and turned it to the side, preparing to end the lives of everyone present with a single blow. Boom. At this moment, an icicle rose from the ground. Blocked Lin's attack. Lin immediately turned around and Jiangsu appeared in the distance with a smile. As you said, they had such high achievements that it would be a shame to die. Jiangsu arrived here with a slight jump. Jiangsu. The golden-eyed woman wearing the mask shouted softly. Jiangsu sighed with a smile. We finally entered. There are so many side roads in this illusion array. Lin looked at Jiangsu. This person was at the 2nd level of the Dakan realm, which was acceptable. Brother, you are here to kill him. Obviously these people are of no use to you, how about you give them to me? Jiangsu spread his hands with a smile. You're thinking too much, Lin sneered. I just took a special look at Zhu Chuan and Wang Qing's room. The lock on the door was broken. It must have been your doing, right? Jiangsu smiled slightly. You didn't kill them. They were obviously useful to you. Is it possible that? Lin's voice became increasingly cold. That's what you're thinking now. If you want to kill these people, I will kill them. Jiangsu took out a kunega from the space ring. Maybe I can't stop you from killing these people, but you definitely won't be able to stop them. I will kill Zhu Chuan and Wang Qing. Lin was stunned on the spot. Jiangsu was right. At this level, he could kill Zhu Chuan in front of him. I'm an invisible fan. Lin smiled. Zhu Wan's code name is not called Invisible Ball, right? Jiangsu suddenly left. Lin's smile stopped abruptly. Who was Zhu Wang? The name sounds familiar. It seems that I recognize the wrong person. I thought you were Lin just now. Jiangsu took a sip of beer and said with a smile. By the Holy Emperor Sword and the Holy Ashes Goo wrapped around me, I always thought they were Lin's standard equipment. Lin. Are you Lin? Alice over there took off her mask and scolded him. Okay, you Lin, you don't show mercy at all, you just wanted to kill me. You got the wrong person, I'm Lin said lightly. Mr. Pham, it seems that the deal between us is complete. Jiangsu pointed to the roof of another building outside the window. Let's talk. Okay. Lin nodded slightly. They both jumped and landed on the opposite roof. Now, in addition to the real humans in the Holy See, a third force has appeared in the ruins. Jiangsu looked at Lin. They are called nightmares, I think you should know. Nightmares. The body trembled slightly. Isn't this the organization my second master used to belong to? Nightmare is the sharp sword of the Tantak family. Its purpose is to trap Zhu Chuan, Jiangsu explained. Lin nodded secretly. He knew it. When the Tantak family went to see the Zhao family, it was to find Zhu Gusao's whereabouts. To be honest, among major organizations, those who lose their nightmares are not considered the strongest, so they played tricks, Jiangsu said and took a sip of beer with a smile. When the sniper and the clan fight, the fisherman wins. Lin said lightly. Yes, they are fishermen, but there's another important point in this line. What do the sniper and the clan fight? Jiangsu asked with a smile. You mean? Lin remembered what the old man had said before. Dr. Zhao was willing to provide the address of the real human being and was also willing to come and destroy it himself. Dr. Zhao and Nightmare are a team. Why are you telling me this? Lin's voice gradually became cold, perhaps due to Jiangsu's instigation. I didn't take any action in this battle in the outside world, but Dr. Zhao is so brilliant. He shouldn't be able to come back. Jiangsu showed a bright smile. I'll take these scientists and join the Dark Order. P.S. Brother, hello guys, I'm late. I'll punish myself with 3 drinks first. Chapter 692. I am so afraid that I dare not move. Are you serious? I really don't understand you. You are so talented, why don't you follow that country? Lin couldn't see through Jiangsu. Being able to make the Zhang family a distinguished guest of the country and honor their ancestors is obviously something that countless people dream of. I like to dance on the tip of the knife. Jiangsu spread his hands with a smile. My brother is here in the Zhang family, which is enough. Hearing this, Lin suddenly became speechless and then shook his head gently. Your brother also said something similar. Oh. Jiangsu was a little confused. He said he didn't need to do anything. It's enough for the Zhang family to have you. Fen Lin said lightly. Haha, this guy Jiangsu smiled bitterly. I get my way, so you, a stranger, don't have to worry about it. But a heinous person like you, when I have the ability, I will kill you. Fen Lin said coldly. As you wish. Jiangsu drank the beer with a smile and crumpled the can into a ball. Is the formation in your hand? Not bad, Fen Lin nodded. I don't know the situation outside now. It is impossible for you to rescue Zhu Chuan Waikin. We can cooperate, Jiangsu said with a smile. Tell me, Fen Lin frowned. Jiangsu explained. You take out the formation disc, I will take it out and then snatch it outside. There are so many masters, can you escape? Fen Lin asked with a frown. Yes, I have killed people from the Tantai family before. Jiangsu took out a rectangular token, although it's just a one-way transfer. Should they all be transferred together? Fen Lin roughly guessed Jiangsu's intention. Yes, this is the best way right now, Jiangsu nodded. Okay. I'll believe you just once. Fen Lin really didn't have a better way. In the current situation, as long as Zhu Chuan and Waikin are rescued, it will be considered a success. He took out the formation disc from the space ring, and as soon as he took it out, the formation disc shone with light. Shit. Fen Lin was so scared that he inserted the space ring again. What the hell? There is someone standing directly above him. No, there seems to be a truce there. Jiangsu touched his chin. If there's no truce, how can someone stay on the formation board all the time? What should I do? Fen Lin asked in a deep voice. I don't know. If nightmare members enter, this retreat will not be successful. After Jiangsu said this, he exhaled. Hey, my son has grown up so much and still asks to save his father in the end. It's embarrassing. After finishing, Jiangsu took out his mobile phone and sent a message. At the same time. Various forces within the ruins are here waiting. Jiangsu King suddenly took out his phone, looked at it, and found that it was a text message from Jiangsu. He asked what state the person on the formation board was in at that time. Jiangsu King looked at Jin Zhao squatting on the formation plate and sighed softly. But no matter what, Jiangsu was his proud son. Finally, he answered. Jiangsu on the other side saw the news and smiled bitterly at Fen Lin. Now there's a third-level Daken woman standing in the formation. It seems that there's really no other way. Third level. Fen Lin shook his head gently. Indeed, like this. Currently it can be entangled with Daken Tier 3, but in that kind of situation, it is simply impossible to protect so many people. And you? Jiangsu looked at Fen Lin. You have so many strange abilities, you should be able to escape, right? No, I don't trust you. Fen Lin had just thought of this method. But it was impossible. One goes alone. What if he just sends his people? After all, Jiangsu cooperates with real humans and the Alliance. Perhaps his current attitude is simply because he wants something from himself. When his problem is resolved, he immediately turns his back and refuses to acknowledge anyone. When performing tasks alone, Fen Lin must be careful. You think very badly of me. Jiangsu spread his hands helplessly. Otherwise, I will send Zhu Chuan and Waikin first. If they are not the ones who leave first, how about you go back? I'll believe you just once. Fen Lin couldn't wait any longer. He had the worst plan. If Jiangsu didn't save Zhu Chuan Waikin, Fen Lin would also kill other scientists. Okay. Zhu Chuan's figure suddenly disappeared here. After at the same time, he grabbed Zhu Chuan and Waikin respectively and returned to the building full of scientists. Then, he jumped towards Fen Lin and exchanged contact information with Fen Lin. Fen Lin took a deep breath, took out the formation disc, and immediately stepped on it. A chain of light flashed. Fen Lin disappeared here. But the next moment, Jin Zhao squatted down and put the formation disc. Formation in the space ring. Jin Zhao was shocked and then attacked Jiangsu. Jiangsu immediately stayed away from the building here to prevent the two attacks from spreading to that side. On the other side, Fen Lin appeared on the formation board. Looking at the many experts around him, Fen Lin immediately raised his hand. Don't move. I have something to say, please listen carefully. Fen Lin's sudden words really scared everyone. He immediately put away the formation disc. I will retreat first. Boom. The air around Fen Lin's body suddenly compressed, trapping him. Jin Fenghuang raised his hand and grabbed Fen Lin. Swish, brush, brush. At this moment, 4 shadows flew out from Fen Lin. They flagged forward, backward, left and right respectively. This is Fen Lin's second skill that he retreated to recently, under the influence of the military strength chapter. Added 2 clones of the god of antipathy. Oh. Fen Lin's figure moved towards the shadow behind him. Senator Luo took the apple and followed immediately. Brush. In an instant, Fen Lin's shadow moved to the front again. This feint gave him more time to escape. This technique, and could it beat him? Jin Fen Huang thought. Sinma immediately turned around and chased after Fen Lin. Dad Ken reached the 4th level of speed and caught up with Fen Lin in the blink of an eye. Oh! Fen Lin let the shadow fly forward again. His true form suddenly turned around, took out a scalpel, and attacked Senator Luo. For a moment, Fen Lin crouched behind Senator Luo. Senator Luo suddenly froze, motionless. But Fen Lin behind him disappeared without a trace. The distance is enough. Fen Lin activated the transfer formation and left the ruins with a series of smooth movements. Senator Luo simply turned around and found Jin Fen Huang standing behind him. Boss, it's my fault. This man's movement is always familiar to me, so familiar that I'm a little scared. Senator Luo looked at the red apple in his left hand. Jin Fen Huang said calmly. When Senator Luo heard the name, his left hand suddenly began to shake. No wonder it's so familiar, especially the footsteps that came behind me in an instant. I was so scared that I didn't dare to move. Fortunately, today I brought the amulet with me. Go back, the mission failed. Golden Phoenix calmly walked towards the exit of the ruins. At least, the person just now was Fen Lin. She had already researched everything about Fen Lin and knew that he had a woman named Zhu Huang. Zhu Huang is the daughter of Zichuan Waikin. Fen Lin took the formation disc, definitely to save them. What should I do with the bunny? Senator Luo asked. Chapter 693 Is the waiter stupid? You forgot, we have a transfer token. Call her when we go out. Jin Fen Huang smiled slightly. The Tantak family is all petty and would rather give the 2A token to their families trapped than to us. Senator Luo said calmly, if they had the 2A token, they would have already entered the headquarters. Don't worry, there are not many such precious things. Jin Fen Huang shook his head gently, activated the token and left the ruins. Senator Luo turned around and looked at the people in the distance. I must have a good time today, otherwise I might have nightmares at night. Senator Luo rushed towards the crowd in the distance. No matter whether they were real humans or people from the Holy See, no one could escape his clutches. 34, 35, 36, seeing Senator Luo start to kill people, Juno immediately attacked from a distance. But all Senator Luo killed were low-level people, and these people had no room to defend themselves. 77. Ready, my luck will be good today. After saying this, Senator Luo activated the transfer formation and disappeared here. Follow God's will and kill me. Juno looked and directed all her anger at it. At the same time, Fen Lin appeared in a hotel room. He remembered that the transfer distance of the formation disk was much greater, so he immediately moved further away. Finally we reached an uninhabited road on the outskirts of the city. He took out the formation disk and took off his mask. With a soft sigh, Fen Lin immediately dialed Zhang Zu's number. Roger. Zhang Zu only said 2 words and hung up the phone. He won't be able to defeat that person, right? Fen Lin was thinking. Buzz. At this moment, a light flashed from the formation. Fen Lin was overjoyed and immediately took out a bearded human skin mask from the space ring. Get ready to dress up Zuchuan. However, what appeared in the formation was a woman with 2 tails dressed in white pajamas. As soon as it appeared, it hit Fen Lin. Stop. Who are you? Why did you hit me? Fen Lin suddenly asked. Jin Zhao looked around and nodded gently. By the way, Grandma said that the mission was over and asked me to come back. Who was your grandmother? Fen Lin asked. Humph. I won't tell you. Jin Zhao said in a milky voice. At this moment, the formation disc lit up again, and Wang Qing's figure appeared here. Jin Zhao looked back and suddenly pointed at Wang Qing with joy. It's you. Don't move, our grandmother said, the mission is over. Fen Lin stood in front of Jin Zhao. Yes, what should we do? Jin Zhao was stunned again. Fen Lin scratched his head in embarrassment. Could he be an idiot? He carefully took out a pack of chili sticks from the space ring and said, Sister, make a friend. What is this? Jin Zhao asked strangely. It's delicious. Fen Lin opened the packaging bag, took one from inside and stuffed it into his mouth. Jin Zhao took off her mask, revealing the appearance of an indifferent royal sister. Its pupils were vertical beast-like pupils, which were intimidating. But her expression was silly and cute. She sniffed lightly and said, It's very spicy. Try it, it's delicious. Fen Lin took one out and brought it to Jin Zhao's mouth. Jin Zhao took a bite and bit his cheeks. His eyes lit up. It's delicious. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll give you everything. Fen Lin handed the entire package to Jin Zhao. It turned out that he was actually a stupid waiter. Zhangzu was entangled with this guy just now. It was very embarrassing. At the same time, Zhu Chuan also appeared here. Fen Lin, Zhu Chuan shouted weakly when he saw Fen Lin here. Fen Lin immediately put the human skin mask on Zhu Chuan's face. He took out another wig and put it on Wei Qin, and also gave him sunglasses and a mask. At this time, other people also came out one after another. There are more than 20 people, all crowded here. Finally, Zhangzu also appeared here. What's your name? Fen Lin put his arm around Jin Zhao's shoulders and asked with a smile. My name is Jin Zhao. What a name, Tudu. Brother, I will give you 2 more packets and I will also give some to Grandma. Fen Lin took out 2 more packets of spicy strips. Okay, thank you brother. Jin Zhao smiled and nodded, then I'll go find Grandma. Well, goodbye. Fen Lin waved his hand with a smile. Oh. Jin Zhao disappeared here instantly. Ugh. I'm scared to death. Fen Lin breathed a sigh of relief. Fen Lin. It's really you. Alice walked over and shouted. Please shut up. I believed in you a lot before, but I didn't expect you to be a real human being. Fen Lin pointed at Alice and said coldly. You, okay, Fen Lin, it's my pleasure to cooperate. Let's say goodbye. Zhangzu looked at Alice with a smile, asked someone to come over immediately and pick us up in batches. Okay. Alice took out the phone. Fen Lin also put on the human skin mask, looked at Zhu Chuan and Wei Qin. Let's go quickly. Wei Qin supported Zhu Chuan's arm and followed Fen Lin. Fen Lin stopped a taxi and sat in the passenger seat. Zhu Chuan and Wei Qin were sitting in the back row. Go to the Chinese embassy, Fen Lin said to the driver, and then immediately called Ji Guangling and asked him to notify the people here to respond. Fen Lin couldn't go with them. The 3 Chinese, even with masks, attracted too much attention. Fen Lin suspected that several people from Nightmare might be waiting at the airport. The 3 arrived at the embassy. There was someone guarding the door. Fen Lin quickly walked over, took off his mask, and took out his red ID. The security guard immediately ushered the 3 people in. In the hall, a bald old man in a suit hurriedly walked over and said, Mr. Fen Lin, you're here. Zhu Chuan and Wei Qin behind Fen Lin were all confused. What's going on here? Especially Zhu Chuan, who often understands international news. The ambassador to England often appears on television. In fact, he respected Fen Lin very much. You can't go to the airport here. You take them to other cities' airports and buy tickets directly to Yanjing. There will be someone there to help you. Fen Lin said immediately. Okay, the superiors just made a phone call and asked me to cooperate in everything. Thank you so much. Fen Lin nodded and looked at Zhu Chuan. After arriving in Yanjing, the people in the country will help you. Follow their instructions and everything. Wait until I return. I'll take Zhao to see you. Before Zhu Chuan could say anything, Fen Lin immediately ran out and activated the transfer token. He returned to his previous hotel room. He deliberately let out his breath and prepared to go to the airport. He wanted to win. Time for Zhu Chuan. Now the streets are basically empty of people. Fen Lin jumped out of the window, his eyes suddenly condensed, and he immediately turned around. The former Jin Zhao appeared behind him. Fortunately, there was a transfer formation. Otherwise, they might have guessed where they were. Grandma said you have 3 people here, let me take the other 2. If you're the only one, let me take you back, Jin Zhao said in a sweet voice. Did you recognize the wrong person? Don't I know you? Fen Lin said something in English. Haha. Fool, you still want to lie to me. I can remember your smell, Jin Zhao laughed, especially the silly face, and sneered at Fen Lin's eye. Since you can smell it, why don't you arrest those 2 people directly? Fen Lin asked with a smile. I can only smell the person who was touching my body. You just hugged me by the shoulders, Jin Zhao said with a smile. Sister, give face to brother. Fen Lin took out another packet of spicy strips. Zhao, Grandma told you not to eat strangers' food. Jin Fenghuang walked from the distance with crutches. Chapter 694. His ex-girlfriend. Fen Lin looked into the distance, eyeing the old woman suspiciously. Although he took off his white mask, his clothes and the guide staff in his hand could still be seen. She was the one who used compressed air to imprison Fen Lin when she snatched the formation disc from him. So this person is at least the 5th level of Dakang. Grandpa, I didn't answer this time. Jin Zhao quickly spread his palms with an innocent expression on his face. Yeah. Jin Fenghuang stopped in front of Fen Lin and said with a slight smile, Let me introduce myself, my name is Jin Fenghuang. Senior should be a nightmare person, right? Fen Lin asked in a deep voice. Yes, from your tone, it seems that you know this organization. Could it be that Lao Men mentioned it to you? Jin Feng Huang asked with a smile. Not bad, Fen Lin nodded. In fact, he has changed and dares to mention his past in front of you, Jin Feng Huang muttered to himself, laughing. I also have another identity. I am Lao Men's ex-girlfriend. Fen Lin looking at this old lady carefully, he realized that the second master once told him about a person. He said that the other party was from the Tantak family and had hereditary consequences. Now the eyes can no longer see. In his world, only Ki's human silhouette can be seen. Could it be that he is the person in front of him? But to be honest, the temperament of the old lady in front of me is actually very attractive. He has white hair and a cloth black wrapped around her eyes and nose. The only thing that makes her look bad is the wrinkles around her mouth. Who do you think Men Cheng Sheng is? Jin Feng Huang asked with a smile. Fen Lin asked coldly. Jin Feng Huang smiled and waved her hand. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you, for the sake of Lao Men and your father. Fen Lin was a little surprised. Does she still think about her father? He is my second grandfather, a member of my family, and my teacher, Fen Lin explained. I see, Lao Men has pinned his hopes on you. Jin Feng Huang shook his head gently. What hope? Fen Lin frowned. Let's not talk about it anymore. This time I made a miscalculation in arresting Sichuan. That is to say, there was a master who can entangle with Zhao hidden in the headquarters. This time I gave up. Jin Feng Huang asked Zhao to move out. In the past, he wanted her to remember Sichuan's taste first. Even if they rescue him in the future, they can still arrest him. Sometimes overthinking will take you further away from success. If Senator Luo had been allowed to stay in the formation, he might have succeeded. Why are you arresting Sichuan? Fen Lin asked sharply. The Tantak family wants to use Sichuan to train the next generation of masters to see if they can have the ability to live forever, Jin Feng Huang said with a smile. Fen Lin snorted coldly and roughly guessed it. I'll leave if nothing happens. I came here to tell you that we will still arrest Sichuan. Jin Feng Huang was about to leave. Is Dr. Pazhao one of yours? Fen Lin suddenly asked. I don't know. I can only say that for the moment, he is on my side. Jin Feng Huang left. Jin Zhao supported Jin Phoenix and they disappeared together. Fen Lin leaned against the wall and didn't plan to leave yet. Currently, one of the transfer formation discs is in the illusion formation and the other is on its side. He was going to move some things to Shenron, and it was a shame that he left like this. Fen Lin reached the top of the nearby bell tower. There must be no one who comes from such a high place. He placed the formation disc on the ground and stepped on it. A burst of light flashed and Fen Lin appeared in the illusion array again. Shui Miao was next to him. Why are you back? Shui Miao asked strangely. If there's anything valuable here, tell me and I will let you escape later. Fen Lin put the formation disc into the space ring. I won't leave. My mother is still fighting in the ruins. I have to wait for her. Shui Miao shook her head. Don't worry, your mother should be fine. The battle there will definitely end in a fight. When Fen Lin went to the ruins, he took a gentle look. Without Nightmare's intervention, the combat strength of the two sides would be approximately the same and neither would be able to hold back the other. But the real humans had no reinforcements. In the end, they will definitely untie the formation and escape. There are no treasures here. All good things are in Ige. Shui Miao was originally worried about his mother, but after hearing Fen Lin's words, he felt relieved. What's here? Fen Lin asked. There is a database, I will take you there. Shui Miao led the way. Deep in the ghost array, there is a black cube made of steel. 5 full meters high. Shui Miao stopped, pointed to the bucket and said, it's inside. Fen Lin crouched on the ground strangely and pressed his hand on the ground to feel it. Then he laughed out loud, the formation eye of the formation was actually here. If Fen Lin uses the formation breaking technique to destroy this place, the ghost formation will also disappear. But before that, let's see what's inside. Fen Lin pressed his hand on it and the black smoke from the ashes holy goo gradually melted the steel. Finally, a big hole dissolved here. Fen Lin walked in and found that it was full of paper documents. Fen Lin flipped through a few articles and became more and more surprised. In fact, there are test records about Laotian. Fen Lin emptied all the information here and filled it with 3 spatial rings. Besides here, were there any other treasures? Fen Lin turned around and asked. No more. Shui Miao shook her head. Shui Miao, are you sure you don't want to leave? Fen Lin took out the formation disc. This is also a treasure, I'll take it to you. How can I get out if you take it away? Shui Miao said fiercely. Go out first and then call your mother. Believe me, she will be fine. Fen Lin said calmly. Okay then, shooting me now had no choice but to stand on the formation plate and disappear here. Fen Lin stood at the center of the ghost formation, ready to add some fire. He put on the invisible mask, closed his eyes, and performed the formation breaking technique. Boom. Countless oracle bone rooms revolved around Fen Lin's body. Fen Lin suddenly burst out with power and struck the formation. The world around him began to collapse, like broken glass, spreading from the ground to the sky. Wow. The formation began to break little by little and finally collapsed. Fen Lin jumped up, rushed out of the formation, and appeared at the location of the ruins. The field behind him continued to collapse and finally turned into an abyss. This huge move caused everyone fighting in the distance to look askance. What? The formation is broken, alchemist. Iger was shocked, immediately lifted the ruins formation and fled towards another exit. Juno and Leo immediately followed him. As for the various Dakan kingdoms under Ige, they all fled. Fen Lin didn't expect to scare them as soon as he came out. He also fled outside and took the opportunity to take out Jiangzu's transfer token. Brush. Back to the hotel. Taking away the other token, he immediately ran to the top of the bell tower. Shui Miao is sitting here. Fen Lin took the other formation disc and said calmly, I saw a blue-haired person escape. It must be my mother. Shui Miao said excitedly. What bother? Fen Lin shook his head gently. She didn't care whether you lived or died last time, and this time it's the same. She may have forgotten that she also has a daughter in the illusionary. Chapter 695. Don't talk about good or evil, just talk about pros and cons. I want you to take care of it. Shui Miao puffed her mouth in disgust and took out her mobile phone to make a call. This time I didn't kill you because you were helping me. I will be a good person from now on. Fen Lin took the formation disc and left here. He went to the airport non-stop and bought a ticket to Yanjing. This time, the goal can only be considered a partial success. At least Zhu Chuan and Wei Qing were rescued. Although the True Humanity organization was destroyed, Jiangzu took away all of these core scientists. The Dark Holy See may do the same in the future. However, time is on Fen Lin's side. Perhaps next time he can deal with the Dark Holy See by himself. Sleep well on the plane. After waking up, Fen Lin arrived in Yanjing. After leaving the airport, he called the old man and learned that Zhu Chuan and Wei Qing were at a base outside Yanjing. He ran immediately. When I entered the base, I saw Zhu Chuan and Wei Qing in an office. A military doctor was examining Zhu Chuan. Zhen Wenwen was also next to him. Fen Lin opened the door and walked in, asking softly, Are you okay? No, it's just a simple blood loss. You just need to rest for a while. The military doctor shook his head gently. That's good, Fen Lin agreed. Zhen Wenwen smiled and looked at Fen Lin, You can do it. Did you really rescue the two of them? It's just luck. Fen Lin shook his head. If it weren't for Jiangzu this time, he would do it. Be really trapped inside. After the doctor left, Zhen Wenwen patted Fen Lin on the shoulder and said, I'll give you a few minutes and accompany me to the headquarters later. Okay, Fen Lin nodded. Zhen Wenwen left the room and closed Fen Lin. Fen Lin, who are you? Wei Qing asked tremblingly, really scared by what happened this time. Didn't I say that before? Fen Lin calmly spread his hands. Zhu Chuan and Wei Qing looked at each other, and even if they were fools, they could guess that Fen Lin was definitely a big shot. Wei Qing said helplessly. It seemed that compared to her daughter's vision, she was blind. By the way, have you talked to Zhang on the phone? Fen Lin asked. Not yet. After we were arrested, our phones were confiscated. Zhu Chuan couldn't wait to talk to Zhu Ruoying. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone and called Zhu Ruoying first. But Zhu Ruoying hung up the phone on him. Fen Lin frowned. Are you busy? I was going to call back later. However, half a minute later, Zhu Ruoying called. Fen Lin immediately logged in and asked, What were you doing just now? I was scolding the Empress with my voice and your ringtone bothered me. Zhu Ruoying asked lightly. What's wrong? Fen Lin rolled his eyes. Could it be that things between them have not yet come to an end? On my mission abroad, I rescued your parents. What? Zhu Ruoying shouted excitedly before Fen Lin finished speaking. Video call. After Fen Lin finished speaking, he hung up the phone. When Fen Lin opened WeChat, he even felt that WeChat was a little stuck. The small group he established had no idea how many messages were saved. After a video call with Zhu Ruoying, I found out that she had returned to the ruins. Fen Lin, where are my parents? Zhu Ruoying shouted excitedly. Hearing their daughter's voice, Zhu Chuan and Wei Qing were also moved. Speaking of which, they weren't captured for long, but during this period, for them, every day was like a year. Fen Lin handed the phone to Zhu Chuan and took the initiative to leave the room. Dad. Mom. Zhu Ruan yelled and screamed, shouting, Mom misses you so much. Wang Qing also cried. Fen Lin stayed outside for a while. Zhu Chuan left the room and handed the phone back to Fen Lin. No more chatting. Fen Lin asked with a smile. Well, I want to ask, when can we go back? Zhu Chuan asked. You shouldn't go back for the time being. Fen Lin looked at Zhu Chuan. Those people are still arresting you. The country won't find a few bodyguards to follow you around the clock. The people who want to arrest Zhu Chuan now are not the same type as before, a small kingdom that connects shape and silhouette. The strength of those who captured him has risen to the 5th level of Dakang. They can't let the old man follow them all day. Even if they are taken to the Fengshan ruins, they may not be able to save them. Perhaps it will also lead to the death of Zhao King and others. It is safer to keep Zhu Chuan and others in a state-controlled place. If you take the time, you can bring Zhu Ruan to see them. Are you okay? At this time, Zhen Wenwen came from a distance, looked at Fen Lin and asked. Fen Lin nodded. We don't need to go to the headquarters, the old man is here in person. After Zhen Wenwen finished speaking, he turned around and walked out. Go back and sit for a while. Fen Lin looked at Zhu Chuan and followed Zhen Wenwen. The two arrived at the hillside outside the base, Ji Guangling in his pants pockets inserted in sunglasses looking into the distance. Seeing Fen Lin approaching, he smiled, awesome. You really save people. It's just luck. Fen Lin's expression solidified. Dr. Lishao is a nightmare person. This time everything is to create a situation where the snipe and the clams are fighting for the nightmare. Zhen Wenwen narrowed his eyes. He had long known that Dr. Lishao's motives were impure. Wow, I don't care what the snipe and the clam are fighting. Now the human true energy is severely damaged and we haven't lost anything. This is what I want, Ji Guangling said with a smile. As long as Deku doesn't commit no mistake at dawn, we can come back this time. I mispraise him. Hey, you guys who are playing conspiracy have dirty hearts. Fen Lin shook his head gently. Adults don't talk about good and evil, only pros and cons. It's the same between countries. If you have Deku Lishao, a free bully, don't give up. Ji Guangling left. Zhang Zhu and his scientists have defected to the Dark Holy See, Fen Lin suddenly said. Ji Guangling nodded. I know almost everything about it there. Fen Lin did not ask any more questions. Perhaps Zhang Zhu King or Dr. Lishao had already sent the message. Can Zhu Chuan and Wang King be handed over to you? Fen Lin asked with a smile. It's not safe to leave them here. Okay, I will give you a safe place to live in these few days. Ji Guangling nodded. The few of them chatted here for a while, and then Fen Lin bid farewell to Zhu Chuan and Wang King. Zhu Chuan specifically reminded Fen Lin to go to his hometown to clean the tomb. Fen Lin also promised them that after Zhugusao's tomb was raised, he would take Zhu Ruan to see them. Taking a helicopter, Fen Lin returned to Fengshan. As soon as she entered the ruins, Zhu Ruan threw herself into Fen Lin's arms. His eyes were red and he said, Fen Lin, where are my parents? Take me there quickly. Your dad gave me a task. I'll come when I'm done. Fen Lin comforted Zhu Ruan and walked towards Men Changshen. Leave. Men Changshen was playing chess with Wei Wei and took a sip of wine from time to time, feeling relaxed and relaxed. Second master, I met your ex-girlfriend, Fen Lin said with a smile. PFFT. Men Changshen's wine gushed out. Wei Wei's face was also indifferent. Who is it? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 696 Divorce You. Men Changshen coughed a few times, wiped his mouth and said, Boy, don't talk nonsense. How can I have an ex-girlfriend? Fen Lin, who is she? What is her name? Wei Wei looked at Feng. Coldly Forest. Her name is Jin Feng Huang and she is said to be the second master's ex-girlfriend, Fen Lin explained with a smile. Hearing the name, Men Changshen's face suddenly became cold. She didn't do anything to you, right? No, he said that for the sake of the second master and my father, he would not do anything to me. Fen Lin squatted next to him and, on the grass, said with a smile. That's good. Men Changshen nodded slightly. Brother Changshen, is this Golden Phoenix the white-haired girl who used to be by your side? Wei Wei narrowed her eyes and asked, is she the woman who looked angry on the outside? Fen Lin was a little surprised. No wonder the Golden Phoenix's hair is not the gray hair of the elders. It turns out that due to race, he was born with white hair. It's her. You know she likes to joke around. She used to just be my subordinate. Men Ching smiled and pointed to the chessboard. It's your turn to play chess. I don't think so. Speaking of which, I remember this white-haired girl. I've been following you around. You must be related. Wei Wei's face seemed a little sad. Don't think too much, my woman is someone else. Men Ching shook his head slightly and immediately changed the subject. Be careful when you meet her in the future and don't play around with the idea of hiding. Your aura, she can see it. Were those eyes yours? Fen Lin asked. Yes, as long as you are within a certain range, you can see if there are any obstacles, whether in front, behind, left or right. Men Ching nodded. Second master, I saw two people this time. One is the second fool, who has vertical pupils and can smell me through his sense of smell. Fen Lin thought to Jin Zhaodu. I have never heard of this person. He must be young, right? After all, I have been away for more than 20 years. Men Ching shook his head. Fen Lin remembered that Jin Zhaodu looked like he was in his 20s, so it was normal for the second master not to recognize him. I also met a man who was holding an apple in his hand. Fen Lin thought of Senator Luo who was chasing him. We will definitely face them again in the future, and there's nothing wrong with knowing the information in advance. Holding an apple. Is it Senator Luo? Men Ching frowned. I'm not sure if it's him. Once upon a time there was a boy who was holding a fruit. Does he have any abilities? Fen Lin asked. He is very talented, but he is too shy. The Tantai family forced him to do many cruel things, but they couldn't stop him. Men Ching sighed softly. Later, I thought of a psychological suggestion method to teach you. Divination. Divination. Fen Lin scratched his head. The second master could even do this. It's just a small clue. Wake up every morning and ask him to guess. As long as he has the protective fruit given by God, he will be full of courage. Men Ching smiled and shook his head, but now, I don't know how far he has grown. What is the status? It should be the 4th level of Daken. Fen Lin remembered what state that person was in. His key point is his head. Otherwise, it might be useful to attack the fruit in his hand, Men Ching said with a smile. I understand. Fen Lin planned to rest well today and dig a grate tomorrow. He was becoming more and more sure that Zugusa pretended to be dead on purpose. Back in the villa, Kaikiokiao and Wenmo were sitting on a sofa eating. Fen Lin, you're back, Kaikiokiao greeted. Fen Lin nodded and sat next to Kaikiokiao. The age difference between Eri and Wei Wei is only 10 or 20 years. Wisdom that when the second master was about the same age as Fen Lin. For a brat like Kaikiokiao Wenmo, I'll wait for you to grow up. Damn, second master is so playful. Fen Lin smiled and shook his head. Fen Lin. Zhu Wang hurriedly walked over. What's going on with my parents? Come to the house with me to talk. Fen Lin took Zhu Wang's hand and walked towards her room. She drew the curtains and closed the door. Now that Lao was practicing at Shang Fugua's house, no one would bother him. Fen Lin lay down and sighed. To save your parents this time, you almost died. Don't take advantage of others. I want brain waves, otherwise my brain will be so mushed up that I can't think about anything. Fen Lin covered said with his head in his hand. Zhu Wang was full of shame and anger, but in the end she could only compromise. Fen Lin closed his eyes and roughly recounted what happened to Zhu Chuan and the others. You mean you snuck in while those teachers were fighting? Zhu Wang pinched Fen Lin. Don't take that risk next time. Hey, it's not just for you, Fen Lin exhaled. She said, honey, there's no one here. Zhu Wang's face turned red. She turned her pretty face and snorted. That stinky woman in the group called Emperor scolded me. Help me scold her, I agree. Fuck, Fen Lin cursed secretly. If you scold her here, she will definitely take action next time we meet. You are reluctant to let go. No, she is a teacher and I still want to ask about her. Fen Lin touched his nose in embarrassment. I don't care. That person is so hateful. He not only scolded me, but also scolded you. I can't stand it anyway. Zhu Wang crossed her arms and puffed her mouth. How about I scold you via text message? Fen Lin asked with a smile, and then he could say that it was Zhu Wang who used her mobile phone to send the message. Okay, Zhu Wang nodded. Okay. Let me be tough. Fen Lin opened WeChat at S and posted. Concubine. If you scold my wife again, I will divorce you. After seeing this, Zhu Wang nodded in satisfaction. Honey, I like to be passive, Fen Lin said solemnly. Out. Zhu Wang was so embarrassed that she punched Fen Lin several times. After dinner at night, Fen Lin lay alone on the roof of the villa. Taking out the cell phone from the space ring, there were hundreds of missed calls, all from Kai Jinyang alone. Fen Lin smiled bitterly and dialed the phone. Fen Lin. You are looking for death, sister. I'm sorry. Zhuang hid my phone today and didn't return it to me until now. I didn't mean to not answer your call. Fen Lin gave an emotionally intelligent answer. Oh really? Kai Jinheng also calmed down. When did I lie to you? Fen Lin was embarrassed to say this now. Damn. This end. Kai Jinheng immediately hung up the phone and started tapping in the group again. Early the next morning, Fen Lin led Wu Ling Huangwing and took Zhu Ruang with him to a rural area under Zhang City. Zhu Chuan's hometown was there. Zhu Ruang was also not very familiar with this direction. He has been living in the urban area of Zhang City for as long as he can remember. Zhaozuan. It was exactly the address that Zhu Chuan mentioned. It was already 10 in the morning when Fen Lin drove here. They finally reached the end of a small passage in the town. There is a small double-leaf wooden door here, and the lock on the door has long been modeled. There is someone inside. Fen Lin's expression suddenly changed. Chapter 697 Empty Tomb. Fen Lin was a little surprised. This person was still an ancient warrior. The realm is only the middle stage of an Jin. Could he be Zhu Ruang's grandfather? Zhu Ruang looked at the modeled wooden door. Some places had rotten holes. He laid his eyes on it and looked at the inner courtyard through the hole. I found that all lines of sight were blocked by undergrowth. Let's go in and take a look. Fen Lin patted Zhu Ruang on the shoulder from behind. Okay. Zhu Ruang nodded, but the two did not leave. His kingdom, in front of the 2-meter-high courtyard wall, is like a flat land. With a slight jump, the two jumped into the courtyard. The courtyard is not large, just a small brick-paved hallway, about 1.5 meters wide. As for both sides of the corridor, they are already overgrown with weeds. Totally half the height of a person. In the left corner, Fen Lin saw the tomb that Zhu Chuan mentioned. There was no tombstone either, just a simple mound overgrown with weeds. Right in front is a dirt house with a rotting and fallen wooden door. There was the aura of a person in the dark room. Fen Lin walked in. Zhu Ruang nervously grabbed the corner of Fen Lin's clothes. Upon entering the room, all floors are paved with bricks. Rusty shovels and hoes hang on the left wall. There is also a worn sofa and a wooden table. On the right side of the room is a small bedroom in the breakfast. Fen Lin walked over, opened the curtain, and saw a woman lying on the wooden bed. Wake up! Fen Lin walked over and that softly. Brush. The figure suddenly trembled and turned around quickly. Those deep black eyes were a little scared, and he immediately jumped up and wanted to escape through the side window. Boom. As soon as she jumped, an invisible force pressed her to the ground. Ah! She let out a cry of pain. Zhu Ruang also walked in and looked at the woman lying on the ground. It scared me. I thought it was my grandfather's ghost. There is something wrong with this woman. Fen Lin walked over and grabbed the woman by Destiny's neck. He took her outside. The woman couldn't even open her eyes under the sunlight outside. He looked to be about 15 years old, was dressed in rags and had long hair. He has a pale and sickly face. Don't hit me, I will never steal again. The woman covered her eyes with her hands and pleaded. I won't hit you, just remove your hands, Fen Lin said calmly. No, I'm afraid of scaring you, the woman whispered. I'm not afraid. Fen Lin squatted on the ground and pushed away the woman's hand. Zhu Ruang also followed strangely, watching the woman's face. If it weren't for these pathologies, I would still be a beautiful flower girl. However, his eyes are very strange. The eyes of normal people are made up of the whites of the eyes, then the eyeballs, and finally the small dots inside the eyeballs, which are the pupils. But this woman has no students. Except for the white around his eyes, he only had one dark eye. You can't see the students inside at all. If you don't look carefully, it's nothing. But upon closer inspection, it becomes increasingly strange, even a little terrifying. Fen Lin, what's going on? Zhu Ruang asked in shock. I don't know, maybe they are foreigners. Fen Lin shook his head slightly and asked flatly, why do you live here? This is not your house. This place has been abandoned for a long time. No one lives here anyway. During the day, I only sleep here. Go out to steal things at night. Fen Lin asked lightly. This woman's sick skin was caused by not being exposed to the sun for a long time. Apparently she slept during the day and went out at night. I was wrong, I will never dare to do it again. The woman knelt on the ground and bowed to Fen Lin. Get up, what is your name? My name is Mian. Mian. Zhu Ruang was a little confused. I was adopted by my grandparents. They said I liked to eat noodles when I was a child, so they called me Mian. Mian replied. Are your grandparents gone? Fen Lin asked. Yes. Mian lowered her head and replied. At this moment, her stomach suddenly grunted. He immediately held his stomach. Hey, here is something good for you. Fen Lin took out a package of compressed military biscuits from the space ring and handed it to Mian. Eat it. Mian eagerly took the cookies, opened the package and ate them. Remember to help me with work after eating. Fen Lin took out a bottle of mineral water and handed it to Mian. Okay. I'm very strong, Mian said with a smile while eating. I need someone very strong. Fen Lin entered the room and took out the shuttle. Mian finished the cookies in the blink of an eye, drank half a bottle of mineral water, and finally exhaled. Are you full? Fen Lin walked over and asked. Hey, not yet. Mian rubbed his head in embarrassment. You work first and I'll let you eat when you're done. Fen Lin threw the shuttle at him. Mian took the shovel and asked strangely. Brother, what do you want me to do? Level my grandfather's grave, Zhuang said with a smile. It turns out that this is my sister's house. Mian laughed. A few times. Don't be flat, I'll let you dig a grave. Fen Lin walked over and said. Zhuang was stunned. She immediately pointed at Fen Lin and shouted, how can I feel sorry for you? I waited for you for 2 hours yesterday and you still want to dig up my ancestral tombs. Calm down. Lin rolled her eyes and hugged him. Zhuang looked over her shoulder and said, hurry up. Okay. After all, Mian is a teacher of Jin. She looks young, but with Qi Jin, she is far beyond ordinary people. She works tirelessly here. In just a few minutes, the mound of earth above was unearthed. The grave. He then dug deeper, reaching a depth of about 2 meters, and reached the coffin board. Okay, clean up the dirt around the coffin, Fen Lin said calmly and started working here again. Her eyes gradually opened with prolonged exposure to the sun. After a while, the entire coffin board was exposed to the air. Fen Lin walked over and lifted the coffin board with one hand. Zhuang was so scared that she immediately closed it. Eyes and did not dare to look. Many years have passed and my grandfather must have been a skeleton a long time ago. Fen Lin looked inside and smiled softly. As expected, Zhugu is not dead at all. What? Zhuang, who was closing her eyes, immediately opened her eyes, walked over and looked at the coffin. It was empty, with nothing inside. How is it possible? Although I was still young at that time, I clearly remember that Grandpa's heart stopped beating and his body gradually became cold. Zhuang couldn't believe it. He remembered that he couldn't sleep well for many days in a row. Zhuchuan also cried very sadly. I can make people's hearts stop temporarily and their bodies go cold. Fen Lin finally understood why when Zhuchuan told the real human about the fake grave, the real human did not come back to look for him. Because the fake tomb was also empty, the real humans, like them, assumed that Zhugu simply faked his death. Chapter 698 Who was not afraid of nightmares? Fen Lin, were you telling the truth? Isn't my grandfather dead? Zhuang became more and more excited, and memories of the past emerged little by little. It was her grandfather who took care of her when she was a child. When she went to see Fen Lin's father for medical treatment, it was Zhugu who took him there. It's absolutely true. I heard from your dad that before your grandfather died, he said he didn't want to be cremated, so he asked your dad to bury him here without worshipping him. Maybe he crawled out shortly after your dad left. Fen Lin finally understood one thing. At first, my father had said that he would teach Zhuang to practice. He said that he owed the Zhu family a favor. I didn't pay much attention to it before, but now that I think about it, if not was because of the mysterious person Zhugu. How could Zhuchuan, Wang King and others make my father owe him a favor? Furthermore, Zhugu and Fen Zhuai are friends. The fact that he knows the village soul master. Which is definitely not simple. Fen Lin and the old man also knew each other and until now, Fen Zhuai was the only person he called companion. His father is a brat to him. The second master is Zhaomeng in his mouth. Last time, when Ji Guangling explained the Yan crusade to Fen Lin, he called Fen Zhuai to Lao Fen. Grandpa, maybe they knew about it a long time ago. Fen Lin looked at Mian next to him, level this place. Oh. Mian took the shovel and started working here again. In just 3 strikes, 5 splits and 2 strikes, he was able to resolve the battle. Fen Lin did not intend to let her work slowly and carefully. Anyway, there was no one here, so it would be fine even if it didn't fill it. Here you go, take a nap first. Fen Lin took out another package of cookies and threw it up Mian. He himself entered the room and searched the closets, but found nothing important. It seemed that Zhugu had destroyed everything here before leaving. Fen Lin, what should we do next? Zhuang followed. Go back. It seems like your grandfather has his own business. When he's done, he might come to see you. Fen Lin stretched out and said, by the way, I'll take you to see your parents sometime. Okay. Zhu Wang nodded. That was all she could do. Fen Lin came to the courtyard and looked at Mian, who was still eating cookies, feeling a little helpless. We can't just leave her here and leave her alone. You two are coming with me. Fen Lin pointed at Mian and said, I'll find you a place to live. Really? Mian looked at Fen Lin in surprise. Really? But you have to tell me, who made you become an ancient warrior? Fen Lin rubbed his head. What ancient warrior? His face seemed a little confused. Sure enough. Fen Lin nodded secretly, which meant that she entered this realm unintentionally. In terms generally speaking, in this case, the talent is not bad, and you may become a master in the future. Go out and take the time to explain it to yourself. Fen Lin grabbed Mian's arm and jumped outside. Arriving at Wolinghongwen on the side of the road, Fen Lin threw Mian into the back row. Fen Lin and Zhu Ruang also got into the car one after another and left here. On the way, Zhu Ruang turned around with a smile. Mian, what is your surname? My grandparents called me Mian. I remember my grandfather's surname was Qin, Mian replied with a smile. Then your name is Qin Mian, Zhu Ruang said with a smile. On the way back to Fengshan, we have to pass through Yunshi. Arriving at the outskirts of Yun City, Fen Lin suddenly looked ugly. Fen Lin, what's wrong with you? Zhu Ruang noticed that something was wrong with Fen Lin. There is a master and he is located in the direction of our villa. Fen Lin pointed to the villa area not far away. Feeling the breath, you can be sure that it must be the realm of Dakang. What should we do? Zhu Ruang was also a little scared. Go back and put this in your pocket. Fen Lin took out a one-way transfer token, just in case. He immediately parked the car on the side of the road. He put on a human skin mask, got out of the car, and left immediately. Zhu Ruang sat in the driver's seat and drove back. Fen Lin ran to Zhu Ruang's villa area, and when he arrived at the gate of the community, he saw a middle-aged man walking out of the community. He has a Chinese character face, thick eyebrows and big eyes, and looks honest and polite. Wearing a suit, expressionless. The strange thing is that he is holding a large watermelon in his left hand. That's the person. Fen Lin stared at him and was suddenly shocked. Could it be the person in the nightmare? Observing the figure carefully, I found that it was indeed the same person, especially what the second master said, take a piece of fruit as a talisman if you have nothing to do. Now that the nightmare people have found this place, it is obvious that they have already been to Zhang City. Fen Lin was grateful that Zhu Chuan, Wang Qing and the others were not allowed to return. Sun Luo held the watermelon in one hand, took out his mobile phone with the other, and dialed the number. Fen Lin followed him and listened carefully. Hey, there's no one there. It seems like they have changed places a long time ago, Senator Luo said over the phone. Then go back. Anyway, you are not suitable for today's task. A woman's voice came from the other side. No way, the hexagram said, my amulet today is a watermelon, which is actually not suitable for fighting. After finishing speaking, Senator Luo put away the phone. Fen Lin was behind and quickly took off his mask. He walked a few steps faster, stood in front of Senator Luo, and asked with a smile, Brother, do you keep this melon cooked? He was going to play with this person to see if the second master was right. Try attacking this watermelon. Small fruits like apples can be a little difficult. But for a fruit the size of a watermelon, it would be a shame if Fen Lin couldn't cut it. Are you Fen Lin? Senator Luo asked calmly. Not bad. Fen Lin smiled and shrugged. Do you dare to appear in front of me and ensure that I dare not use your power in public? Senator Luo asked expressionlessly. No, I want to play with you and see if I can break your watermelon. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and asked, "Are you Senator Luo?" "Not bad." Senator Luo nodded. Fen Lin smiled and shrugged. "My second uncle told me his name is Men Changshen." Hearing the name, Senator Luo's hands trembled involuntarily. "Is he also here?" "You're scared of it?" Fen Lin asked with a smile. "Who was not afraid of nightmares?" Senator Luo whispered in a low voice. "Do you dare to accompany me to see it?" Fen Lin asked. "I do not dare." Senator Luo immediately gave up. "If my amulet were a walnut today, I would dare to go." "Haha, how is your relationship with my second master?" Fen Lin thought of this honest man. Routine punctual news. "We have a very good relationship. I respect him very much and I am also afraid of him," Senator Luo said calmly. "Then why don't you follow my second master?" "My second master now has a very good temperament." Fen Lin asked. He was very curious about Men Changshen's affairs. "After all, I am a subordinate of the Tantai family. Many things are beyond my control." Senator Luo shook his head gently. "I would like to ask, what kind of conflict occurred between my second master and Meng Xiang, or the Tantai family?" Fen Lin asked the doubts in his heart. This matter had worried him for a long time. Chapter 699 Unlimited. Senator Luo no longer spoke, but continued to look at Fen Lin. After a long time, he whispered, "For a woman. Woman. Is she my second wife?" Fen Lin frowned. "No, isn't the second wife a concubine? It should be the second wife. I just said this. You'd better hide Zuchuan, the Tantak family will never give up." Senator Luo took the watermelon, staggered Fen Lin's body, and walked away. Fen Lin looked at Senator Luo's back and thought deeply. Afterwards, after making sure the other party left, Fen Lin returned to Fengshan. After entering the transfer range, he took out the transfer token and instantly appeared in Zuruan's room. Zuruan was changing into sports clothes here when he discovered that Fen Lin suddenly appeared in front of her eyes widening. She quickly covered her body and kicked Fen Lin, shameless. "It's not like I haven't seen it before." Fen Lin dodged with a smile. He opened the window and jumped out. He stopped smiling and walked towards the second master. This Senator Luo can become an undercover agent and needs to check with the second master to see how this person is. Men Changshan was sitting in a wheelchair, smoking one pipe. In front of him was King Mi Bonmian, eating steamed buns and spicy strips. Seeing his happy look, he seemed to be eating some delicacy. "Second master, have you heard of this race?" Fen Lin walked over with a smile. "No, it is necessary to cultivate it for a while." Men Changshan shook his head. "Second master, when I came back just now, I saw Senator Luo." Fen Lin sat on the stone bench next to him and continued, "It was him I met last time. Well, he's actually a genius. And he's grown up a lot. Up to this point." Men Changshan sighed with emotion. "I want to know about him. He said that he respects you very much and that he can be my spy in the Tantak family." Fen Lin looked at Men Changshan with a solemn expression. "What about him?" "In fact, there is nothing to say. He is very capable, but he is timid and does not dare to kill people. The Tantak family forced him to do many cruel things." Men Changshan paused and looked at Fen Lin and said, They have done everything imaginable, and it is just a small thing for him to give Lin Ka to someone. These people from the Tantak family." Fen Lin clenched his fists. However, perhaps it was because of these things that Senator Luo felt resentment toward the Tantak family. "But I was still scared, and I finally decided to teach him. I helped him solve the problem through this method. That's all, second master." "Yes. I will see him next time. Can you say a few words to him on the phone?" Fen Lin asked with a smile. "He is a rare talent." Heptars. "Of course, for such a strong master, if I am definitely willing to surrender sincerely." Men Changshan smiled and nodded. "Okay. It's settled." Fen Lin took out his cell phone and prepared to ask about Zuchuan. "Take Zhu Ruoying to meet them and you can start practicing." "Old master, where are Zuchuan and the others now?" "I'm going to take Zhu Ruoying to see them," Ji Guangling answered and Fen Lin said on the phone. "I put them in the Wuji apartment," Ji Guangling said with a smile. "Damn. Old master, you're giving me too much face. I have never been to Wuji." Fen Lin was a little envious. The Secret Legion is a legion established by the state for ancient warriors. Wujian is an independent department. However, all members of Infernal Affairs know this. Wujian actually belongs to Wuji. Fen Lin once asked the old man which department Wuji was in. The old man said that there are all special human beings in Wuji. Now, Fen Lin probably guessed it. "Let Lao Zem take you to see this time. With your current strength, you should really know these things," Ji Guangling said with a smile. "Okay, I will send you the coordinates and you will ask the helicopter to pick us up." Fen Lin nodded. "Yes," after Ji Guangling said. After that, he hung up the phone. Zuruan put on sports clothes, jumped out of the little window, and prepared to train away. Fen Lin quickly walked over, put his arm around her shoulders. "Honey, come with me, I'll take you to meet your parents." "Really?" Zuruan originally planned to ignore Fen Lin, but when she heard this, her eyes suddenly widened bright. "Nonsense, of course I'd take your matter seriously," said Fen Lin with a smile. The two reached the top of Fengshan Mountain outside the ruins and waited quietly. About half an hour later, a helicopter appeared in the sky. Fen Lin raised his hand to them and told them to open the hatch directly. Then, he pulled Zhu Ruoying and they jumped together. After closing the cabin door, Fen Lin and Zhu Ruoying sat together. The helicopter continued north and finally arrived at a golf course outside Yanjing. After the plane landed, Zhen Wenwen was waiting in the distance. Old Zhen Fen Lin jumped off the helicopter and waved with a smile. Zhu Ruoying also came down and nodded very respectfully. "Hello, senior." "Haha. Follow me." Zhen Wenwen nodded with a smile and walked in. Everything here looks luxurious and elegant. There are no customers in sight except the waiters. Old Zen, are there no limits here? Fen Lin followed and asked with a smile. No, this is the Boundless apartment. You can understand that this is where the Boundless masters and their families live. Zen Wenwen came to a hallway, pressed his fingerprint, and the steel door in front of him opened. Inside there was a circular hole. Zen Wenwen looked back. Fen Lin took Zhu Ruang's hand and they walked in together. Zhu Chuan and Wei Qing were standing not far away, waiting. Dad. Mom. Zhu Ruang screamed and ran when she saw the two people in front of her. Zhao and Zhu Chuan also shed tears. Wei Qing even burst into tears. The three of them held hands and sat on a bench in the distance, talking to each other. Fen Lin looked around. This place is similar to the outer residential areas. The greenery around the skyscrapers is also very good. Suddenly, Fen Lin saw an orc appear in the distance. It was a middle-aged orc woman who, judging from her ears, might be a civet or something. Next to her is a middle-aged human. The two were holding hands and smiling as they crossed the street. Old Zen, don't you tell me. Fen Lin looked at Zen Wenwen. Unbounded means there are no boundaries. To put it bluntly, there are no boundaries between races, Zen Wenwen explained. There are no pure-blooded humans in Unbounded. Basically, they are all half-breeds. What's happening here? Lin pointed into the distance. Here are the families of those teachers, strong single mothers, or interracial love, Zen Wenwen explained. Fen Lin understood that compared to interracial love, single mothers deserved respect. Most of them were forced by foreigners, but in the end they decided to have children. But they discovered that the child they gave birth to is still a monster, so it is possible that only they feel this kind of psychological pressure. Old Zen, are there many unlimited masters? Fen Lin asked with a smile. Guess, Zen Wenwen was speaking as a woman with facial makeup walked into the ruins. Fen Lin looked back and raised his eyebrows in surprise. Who Dan? Chapter 700 The Ninth Day of Autumn. Fen Lin remembered this woman who had joined the Wujian Masters with Dogu Lishao. Fen Lin, why are you here? Hu Dan approached strangely, remembering that Fen Lin was not a mixed race. Zhu Ruang, who was chatting with Zhu Chuan and Wei Qing in the distance, suddenly looked over here. This is the instinctive intuition of a true wife. I'm here to meet someone. Why are you here? Fen Lin asked strangely. My mother is here. Hu Dan walked over and nodded toward Zen Wenwen. Hello, Senior Zen. Yes, Zen Wenwen nodded with a smile. Zhu Ruang in the distance hid a gentle smile on her face. Husband, who was this? Fen Lin scratched his head helplessly. When Zhu Ruang called her husband, she was definitely up to something bad. This is a master of Wujian, Zen Wenwen introduced from the side. The 9th day of the 9th lunar month. At this moment, a woman with long black hair walked from a distance. She looked to be about 40 years old and was very well groomed, with almost no visible wrinkles on her face. Mom, haven't I been back for a long time? I'm here to see you this time. Then your name is Chiyu. Fen Lin walked over with a smile. My daughter's real name is Chiyu. She was born on the 9th day of the lunar month. Kixia looked at Fen Lin with a smile. Looking at you, you and my daughter are friends. Hello, my name is Fen Lin. Fen Lin introduced himself with a smile. This aunt's strength is also not weak. She has already reached the divine orifice realm. Kixia, you should keep in touch with this guy Fen Lin. Zen Wenwen walked over with a smile. Senior Zen said so. My daughter and I should communicate more. Kixia nodded with a smile. Wei Qing in the distance suddenly panicked. Fen Lin was now his good son-in-law. How could he let others take it away from him? Haha. Xiaoying, take the time to have a baby with your husband. Since we live here, we have nothing to do. We can also help you take care of the baby. Wei Qing told them very cleverly that Fen Lin was married. Kixia couldn't help but laugh. She naturally knew what Wei Qing wanted to express. She asked with a smile. It seems that your daughter should be very good. That's natural, my daughter has a double-degree doctorate. Wei Qing said proudly. Kixia laughed a few times. In this world, strength is still respected, and my daughter has reached the realm of temperament. Wei Qing was a little confused. She didn't understand the realm of cultivation. But Zhu Ruang now understands. The temperament realm is even more powerful than Jingujiak. I wonder what stage your daughter is in now. Kixia asked with a smile. Xiaoying, what level are you? Wei Qing asked softly, feeling that Zhu Ruang was not necessarily inferior to her opponent. Mom, I'm so different from you, stop talking. Zhu Ruang gently pulled Wei Qing's arm, and she had just entered the realm of resonance. Above resonance is divine opening, then penetration, and finally tempering. Hearing this, Wei Qing also felt a little unsure. As a parent, the capital you should pretend is your children. Who talks and doesn't brag about their children? From my achievements as a child to my achievements as an adult. Haha, my daughter also has a big company, Mom. Zhu Wang felt her face blush. It seemed like she wanted to pass on knowledge to them. Company. Kixia said with a smile, isn't it a company just to make money? Isn't it just to make money to buy things? As long as my daughter wants something, the country will send it to her directly, so why that? Should I open a company? Fen Lin turned around. Rolling her eyes, she didn't expect the Sant to be very skilled at pretending. But this is normal. If these people who raise their daughters alone were not strong, they might have given up a long time ago. Old Zhen, I heard that I will have another mission later. Fen Lin suddenly winked at Zhen Wenwen. Yes. Boy, I'll give you a few minutes. After Zhen Wenwen finished speaking, he walked out. Fen Lin looked at Zhu Ruoying and said, don't waste time. Let's talk quickly. We'll leave in a moment. Yes, Xiaoying, I'll take you to where we live. Zhu Chuan walked over and said with a smile. Okay. Zhu Ruoying immediately made Wai Qing follow him. Andy, let's go there first. Fen Lin greeted Kixia. Kixia smiled and nodded. When she saw them leave, Kixia took Qichui's hand and walked away. The mission is not dangerous, right? If it is, I will apply to the state and let you change. Kixia's face was a little worried. The undercover mission is too risky. There is no danger, and I still have to pay my debts there. I met a friend, and she was also an undercover agent. Qichui laughed. She is very interesting. I was almost exposed once, but she helped me. When you're alone, you should be careful and not completely trust anyone, Kixia said with a smile. Fen Lin and Zhu Ruoying, led by Zhu Chuan Wai Qin, arrived at a residential building. They live on the 7th floor. On the way, Zhu Chuan explained the general situation. Here they can access the internet and shop online, and the state will provide them with monthly subsidies. Yesterday, Zhu Chuan contacted the company in Zhang City via the internet. Now the company is doing well. Zhu Ruoying was relieved when she heard this. Xiaoying, what realm is that stinky woman talking about? Wai Qing asked in a low voice. Zhu Ruoying smiled bitterly. It is the realm of ancient warriors. There are high and low realms of ancient warriors. Their realm is very powerful. It turns out that she is an ancient warrior. If she is good as your grandfather? Wai Qing asked calmly. Mom, you can kill my grandfather with one finger. Zhu Ruoying smiled bitterly, and Grandpa Wai Shan asked, maybe he can't even beat her now. So powerful. No wonder she's so crazy. Wai Qing couldn't help but curl his lips. Zhu Chuan also nodded secretly next to him. The country would definitely pay attention to such a teacher. As they say, if you want something, the country will give it to you. Zhu Ruoying chatted with her parents here for more than 10 minutes. Now that she knew that her parents were absolutely safe here, Zhu Ruoying felt relieved and left with Fen Lin. Get out of the ruins. Fen Lin said goodbye to Zhen Wenwen and left in a helicopter with Zhu Ruoying. In the cabin, Zhu Ruoying grabbed Fen Lin's hand and whispered, Fen Lin, thank you for completing something I had in mind. Wait for me if you have nothing to do. Fen Lin chuckled. You have a beautiful idea. Don't think I will have children with you when my parents return. Zhu Ruoying has her own ideas and must progress quickly, at least to catch up with Zhenguji Akahui. I just returned to Fengshan. Fen Lin received a call from Kai Jinyang asking him to come now. Just before the helicopter left, Fen Lin asked the pilot to send him there. Come to Kangship. Fen Lin went to the ruins of the villa. I found several ores in the Black Tower. Looking closer, there were 3 people wearing armor. In addition to the Empress, there are 2 others. They both have short hair, not Kai King. Fen Lin, I came to see you this time for 2 things, Kai Jinyang said with an indifferent expression. End of this chapter. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This story is completely available on Patreon. I invite you to subscribe and enjoy all the content.